Well, good afternoon. It's exactly at 12:02, and I call this meeting of the Board of Regents to order. Chief of Staff Nick Wojcicki, will you please take roll?
Chair Brooks.
Here.
Vice Chair Goodman.
Here.
Regent Ariscata.
Here.
Regent Batista.
Here.
Regent Boylan.
Aye.
Regent Breger.
Here.
Regent Brown.
Present.
Regent Carvalho.
Here.
Regent Del Carlo.
Here.
Regent Downs.
Here.
Regent Fernandez.
Present.
Regent Goycochea.
Here.
Regent McGrath.
Here.
You have a quorum present.
Thank you very much. So in a moment, I ask you to please rise for the presentation of colors by the University Police Department Honor Guard and remain standing for our national anthem performed by Master of Music Vocal Performance, Major Torres, which will then be followed by the pledge. Regent Fernandez, will you please lead us in the pledge? Thank you very much. And we're ready for the Honor Guard. Thank you.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight are the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Noise cancellation. Yeah. It's got to be noise cancellation.
Oh, yes.
So typically, at this point, we would move on to agenda item number 1, which is public comment. But before we move to public comment, I just want to make a couple of administrative announcements. Agenda item number 23, which might easily be referred to as the student fee increase agenda item, is being moved from an action item to information only. Subsequent to that agenda item is agenda items number 24, 25, and 26 that have to do with other associated campus fees. Those items will be heard on January 16th at the board's special meeting. And that would conclude the administrative notes or announcements. What I'd like to do is like to call on Special Counsel Nielsen for
Yeah, thank you.
quick reading before
Thank you, Chair
comment.
Brooks. As you open up agenda item number 1, which is public comment, just a reminder to those maybe making public comment, as noted on the board's agenda, that public comment will be limited to 2 minutes per person. Persons making comment are asked to begin by stating their name for the record and spell their last name. Procedurally, public comment will be limited to a maximum of 90 minutes under this agenda item. Public comment will rotate among the meeting sites, beginning with individuals participating from those remote sites, then moving to individuals participating from the host institution here at UNLV, and then concluding with individuals providing public comment over the telephone. At the chair's discretion, he may extend the total allotted time for public comment during this public comment period. The board chair also retains discretion to allow additional public comment as individual items come up. That's all I have, Chair Brooks.
Thank you. I appreciate that. For those of you who would like to call in and offer public comment, please dial 669-444-9171 and enter meeting ID 933-5568-7402 and passcode 555-555. Is there any public comment at GBC?
No public comment at GBC at this time.
Thank you. Is there any public comment at the system office in Reno?
None in Reno.
Thank you. Is there any? So we'll move now to public comment here at UNLV.
Good morning, members of the board and NSHE staff, or good afternoon. My name is Aaliyah Droker, D as in David, R-O-K-E-R. I'm a grad assistant, English PhD at UNLV, which means I'm responsible for doing research and teaching composition courses that UNLV students are required to enroll in. On top of being a GA, I am a member of our union, Nevada Graduate Student Workers, UAW. I work for UNLV, a public university funded by Nevadan tax dollars, designed to bring excellence to the Las Vegas Valley, an effort that we as residents of the state of Nevada are all collectively interested in and benefit from. But unfortunately, not a single graduate assistant at UNLV nor our sister campus at UNR has invested in a contract, though invested in the state's public research and the education of Nevadan students. No GA has a guarantee to teach, research, or even be paid for their labor. I wonder if every opportunity is being taken to ensure that we maintain excellence in the state of Nevada, to ensure, since so many of our state's researchers don't have contracts, don't have working contracts. Graduate assistants are representatives of the state of Nevada. GAs need a contract to be able to do their jobs well, to ensure that Nevadan students are educated with the strong, excellent education that they deserve for coming to this state. And these values go hand in hand with ensuring graduate assistants across NSHE have collective bargaining rights. My peers and I who are speaking today are not alone in our needs. This isn't case by case. Graduate assistants across NSHE have made it clear we need a more powerful voice and we need a more powerful voice on our campuses, and we are asking that in agenda item 36 to add GA collective bargaining to our items and respect our democratic choice to unionize. Thank you.
All right, I think this can be heard. Perfect. Let's see. Good morning, members of the board and NSHE staff. My name is Joaquin Diaz-Rossignoli. That's spelled D-I-A-Z-R-O-S-S-I-G-N-O-L-I. ROSSIGNOLI. And I'm a research assistant for the interdisciplinary neuroscience program of the Graduate College at UNLV. I am also a member of our union, the Nevada Graduate Student Workers UAW Union. Graduate assistants and research assistants exist having to deal with an extreme power imbalance between ourselves and the departments we work for. Our stipends are low, and we do not have a real contract, so our employment can be terminated arbitrarily with no possible recourse. The issues GAs face are not ones that can be dealt with individually, because they do not arise only from individual situations, individual professors, or individual departments. They arise from the general conditions of our employment. The only way to overcome this power imbalance is to have the right to collective bargaining, giving student workers the ability to advocate for ourselves. Graduate assistants across NSHE have made it clear we need a more powerful voice on our campuses. The next step is for the board to recognize our union and begin the process of negotiation of a contract that works for all of us. In agenda item 36, add GA collective bargaining to the next agenda and respect our democratic choice to unionize.
Good afternoon, members of the board. My name is Danny Benjaloun. That's B as in boy, ENJELLLOUN. Like many of my colleagues, I've worked at a few different institutions across the country, but at none have I found the same level of diversity, creativity, and sheer talent that UNLV attracts. Scholars come here the world over, bringing their genius and their passion on a promise that they will find communities that support their work and lives that are stable. Instead, too many of them find that their needs, their most basic needs, are not met. I've seen many brilliant researchers like my colleague Jose, who was designing diamond-based gamma ray detectors for cancer treatment, have to live out of his car. Others like my colleague Yesenia, who was working on algorithms to preemptively detect bushfires out here in the Mojave, have to choose between feeding her children and seeking healthcare for herself. Those hardships, undue hardships, did not happen to them because they were unaware of the resources that we have access to through the university, or any of my colleagues were unaware for that matter. They happened because graduate assistants do not have any real say, in the decisions that shape our working conditions. So tomorrow I ask that you add GA union recognition to during item agenda 36 as business for your next meeting, and invite us to the table, because we are capable, we are committed to this university, and we care very deeply about it, and UNLV only stands to benefit when the people who do the work have a say, a voice in how that work is supported. Thank you.
Good morning, members of the board. My name is Ted Johnson, spelled Johnsson. A year ago, I came to this meeting to tell the board that graduate assistants like myself, who do much of the teaching, research, and administrative work at NSHE institutions, had overwhelmingly decided to form a union so that we can work together with NSHE to create a new framework, one that is fair and gives GAs an equal voice for deciding our contracts and resolving workplace issues. But despite GA's attempts to meet with members of the board, despite GA's countless public comments, despite a majority of our legislators writing to you, despite 200 GAs marching to the system admin building to tape our message to your window, there has been no discussion of graduate assistant issues that has actually involved GAs. For example, at the April 24th special meeting, the lead administrators of our institution led the board to believe that GAs make $32,000 a year and work 20 hours a week. Regent Kokachia did the reasonable thing and calculated that that comes out to $40 an hour. But what he wasn't told, that GAs work far more hours than our contracts allow, and only a handful of GAs with special funding sources actually make that much money. If you ask GAs on our campus to calculate their actual hourly pay, you'll find that many of them make at or below Nevada's minimum wage. But it's not all about pay. It's not all about streamlining the grievance process. GAs want to say over what these things look like, and you can do this the right way. Tomorrow, during agenda item 36, add GA union recognition as new business for your next meeting, and plan to invite GAs to speak and answer questions. Thank you.
Okay, good morning or afternoon, members of the board and chief staff. My name is Rachel Dewald, D-E-W-A-L-D, and I am a graduate assistant and instructor in the psychology department here at UNLV. I am also a member of a union, Nevada Graduate Student Workers, UAW. As a researcher, I work with autistic participants, and right now, misinformation around autism is rampant, and there are public threats being made to collect HIPAA information from autistic people and their records. My participants have asked me how I can be sure that I protect their data. As a graduate student conducting research as part of a R1 university, I cannot answer that question honestly because I don't feel like I have workplace protections myself. And if I push back on an unethical directive, if I refuse to comply with something that violates my participants' trust, I don't feel like I have recourse. Additionally, as a graduate instructor, I am also afraid to teach honestly within my academic freedom and grade students rigorously in a way that helps them learn to think critically. In a time when curriculum is becoming increasingly politicized and instructors are facing suspensions for doing their jobs, we need a process that protects us so that we can in turn teach our students and protect our research participants. Graduate assistants across NSHE have made it clear that we need a more powerful voice on our campuses. I'm here today to ask the board to recognize our union and begin the process of negotiating a contract that works for us all. In agenda item 36, new business, add GA collective bargaining to the next agenda and respect our democratic choice to unionize. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Carlos Tkach, T-K-A-C-Z. I'll try to keep this brief because many of you have heard from me before. I'm a GA in the English department. I have taught entry-level courses. I work as an administrator in my department now. I've supported easily hundreds of freshmen in the work that I do here from various departments, mostly not English majors because there's not a lot of us anymore. I'll keep, again, like I said, I'll keep this brief. I just want to offer support for my fellow union members, NGSW, UAW. We do a lot of work. I rarely have met a group of people who work harder to support the academic and social community of their community than the GAs here, and they just deserve the right to have a say in this. That's all it comes down to. It's just the right thing to do. Thank you.
Good morning, members of the board. My name is Wynn Tashman, T-A-S-H-M-A-N. I'm a doctoral candidate and graduate research assistant who has served UNLV for 8 years across 6 academic departments and administrative units, contributing to the research, teaching, and professional labor that allow this system to function every day. I'm here because of the disconnect between how NSHE relies on GAs and how NSHE engages with GAs. It has reached an ethical breaking point. 1 year ago, GAs across Nevada overwhelmingly voted to form a union so that we could build a fair, transparent, and collaborative framework for our working conditions. Since then, GAs have ridden to you, marched to your building, and even received support from a bipartisan majority of Nevada legislators. We keep showing up because we believe in the system and we want it to be better. But our voices have not been invited into the room where decisions about us and our working conditions are being made. GAs still have no formal mechanism to shape decisions that directly affect our lives. Most GAs earn wages that do not actually reflect the hours that we work. Many make the equivalent of Nevada's minimum wage or less once our true workload is accounted for. At the same time, housing costs in Vegas have risen dramatically. A large number of GAs spend over half their stipend just to keep a roof over their heads, and some even rely on food banks or a second job just to stay afloat. This is not sustainable for a research university system that is competing for talent. Speaking of competition, NSHE has fallen behind as one of the few R1 systems in the US where GAs have no formal negotiating structure, no contract protections, and no independent mechanism for addressing harassment, discrimination, or retaliation. Under current policy, it is the individuals who control a GA's funding that often are the same people responsible for investigating their complaints. No peer institution considers that an adequate or ethical system of accountability. The evidence is overwhelming. Institutions that recognize GA unions report improved recruitment, reduced attrition, and higher productivity. We're not asking for special treatment, just for what's already standard across R1s. Thank you.
Good afternoon, members of the board and NSHE staff. My name is Rebecca Leung, Leung, and I am a graduate assistant in the Geosciences Department and a member of our union, Nevada Graduate Student Workers, UAW. I moved from the University of California system to UNLV because of the reputation of UNLV's excellence in research and development. I wanted to be on the cutting edge of that development. I am disheartened to realize that the research prestige faculty and graduate students is known for is not being properly supported by administration. I know what it is like to be in a university where graduate students and administration work together. I know that our teaching is better when we don't have to get a second job to keep a roof over our heads. I know the quality of my research is better when I don't have to skip meals at the end of a month to make rent. UNLV is so focused on moving towards the future, and we've been shown time and time again that unions are the way of the future in other R1 schools. Imagine how much more we could do if administration recognized the power of graduate students and gave us a seat at the table in admin as strong as our say in research. Graduate assistants across NSHE has made it clear that we need a more powerful voice on our campuses. The next step forward into the future is for the board to recognize our union and begin the process of negotiating a contract that works for all of us. In agenda item 36, add GA collective bargaining to the next agenda and respect our democratic choice to unionize. Thank you for your time and your attention to this matter.
Good morning, members of the board and NSHE staff. My name is Lena Lachere, that's Lacherez. I'm a first-year graduate assistant in the Geoscience Department here at UNLV. For the most part, I can afford to live off my stipend due to the supplementation from my department, which was hard won by our faculty. That being said, I did recently apply to be a plasma donor in order to have any savings when I graduate and have to start paying my student loans. After starting my position here, it didn't take long for me to find out that most are not in as favorable a position as me. This is why, when I found out that there was a graduate assistance forming a union and fighting for our protections and representation of my fellow GAs and I had to get involved. I upended my life in New York to attend a renowned R1 research institution. I found amazing supportive professors who have to spend much of their time fighting for the rights of their students. While their persistence is admirable and appreciated, this is not their job. Graduate assistants are a driving force in the success of this university and deserve to have our interests represented by NSHE and our own university's leadership. This is why I urge you to add GA collective bargaining to the next agenda and recognize our rights as a vital part of this institution. Thank you.
Hey everybody, how you doing? Thank you for having us all here, and appreciate all the work that you guys do. My name's Alon Desai, Desaix. I am a graduate assistant in the PhD program for political science. I teach American civics. Then I also, or American government, which is required, so I get a lot of students every semester. Plus, I also work as a teaching assistant and research assistant. Just echoing what most of these fine people have said already. The GAs definitely are not valued the way they should be. Definitely overworked, undercompensated. That's true. You all know that. We would like to see the item, of unionization be moved to your next business meeting. That'd be great. Would have loved to hear it here, but we didn't. But that's okay. I understand. I just want to say this. Our stipend, on average, is about $1,900 before fees and taxes, right? The average living for a one-bedroom apartment, if you do it here, within the zone of the university, is over $1,100 if you do a rent analysis. That leaves $800 left over, roughly. Another $400 for all our basic needs, right? Maybe another $100 for food. I mean, there's not much. People are living on the margins for sure. And our working hours, they're not 20 hours a week. I can tell you myself with my own GA-ship, because I track my hours, there are weeks where I'm working more than 35, more than 40 even. And this is about half the time. Yeah, maybe some people can get in trouble over that. I don't care. I just want to be compensated for what I do. All these people back here are workhorses. We provide value for the institution. We provide value in a number of ways. I'm also a broadcaster for the university. I broadcast women's sports and men's sports, soccer specifically. I also have 3 other jobs in addition to that. We have a lot of international students who don't have the opportunity to do that. I know you guys have no control over that. I get that. That's part of their visa. But we need to increase the pay and the benefits, and there need to be some secure guarantees for all the students here, for all the student workers here, so that way we can actually live and not live out of our cars, not be paycheck to paycheck, not be meal to meal, things like that. So I appreciate everything you guys are doing. Please work hard for us because we work hard for you.
Good afternoon, members of the board. My name is Mariana Alonzo, Alonzo. I am a student at Western Nevada College and a current senator for the Associated Students of Western Nevada College. I am here today with several of my fellow WNC senators, and this is our first time attending a Board of Regents meeting. We want to express our sincere appreciation to each and every one of you for taking the time to speak with us and for welcoming us into this process. Being here has been a valuable learning experience and has given us meaningful insight into the work that goes into supporting students across Nevada. As student leaders, we are committed to representing the voices of our peers and contributing positively to our campus and community. Opportunities like this help us grow in that role, and we are grateful for your continued support of student engagement and success. Thank you again for your time and for the work you do on behalf of the students throughout the NSHE system.
SES, is there any public comment on the phone?
No callers at this time, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, I appreciate that. And with that, we'll move on to agenda item number 2, and I'll ask our host, President Heavey, to introduce the faculty member and student for their presentation.
Thank you, Chair Brooks and Vice Chair Goodman, all the members of the board and the system staff. Delighted to welcome you to the UNLV campus. And I want to start by thanking all the people who worked hard to make this meeting a special event for everyone, including the system staff, the board staff, the president's office staff, and our student union and event services all set this up as a great day. It's my pleasure to introduce a great faculty member and graduate student we have at UNLV. We're going to start with Dr. Ayan Sengupta, who's a neuroimaging scientist who joined the Department of Health Physics and Diagnostic Sciences recently to use an fMRI machine recently installed on campus to explore brain functioning in outer space and rural Nevada. But it looks like we got Taylor Gerson first. We're going to start with the slides are up for our graduate students, so we'll reverse the order. So Taylor Gerson is a doctoral student in our Department of Life Sciences and is looking at bacterial virulence at a moment when antibiotic resistance poses urgent global threats. She's also the winner of our recent 3-minute thesis competition, which highlights the work of graduate students across many different disciplines, and a very fast 3-minute presentation, and she's here to share her important research with you. Take it away, Taylor.
The crown jewels disappear from the Louvre. No alarms, no shattered glass, just a group of men, a disguise, and a perfectly timed plan. A near flawless heist executed in broad daylight. Now imagine the story unfolding not in Paris, but inside of you. You are the Louvre, your cells the crown jewels, your immune system the guards, and the clever thief? Shigella, a harmful bacteria that is silent, calculated, and executing the perfect regulatory heist right inside of your body. Good afternoon, members of the Board of Regents, Nevada System of Higher Education, presidents, and guests. My name is Taylor Gerson, and I'm a PhD candidate in the Wing Lab here at UNLV. I received my bachelor's, let me see if I can get the slides to go. Yeah, I received my bachelor's in biochemistry and molecular biology from Belmont University, a small liberal arts college in Nashville, Tennessee. It was during my undergrad that I met my current PI, Dr. Helen Wing, via a UNLV-sponsored National Science Foundation research experience for undergraduates. During that summer, I fell in love with microbiology, UNLV's campus, and that's what ultimately drew me to come back for my PhD. In the Wing Lab, we study the pathogen Shigella, which infects the colon, causing a disease known as dysentery. Now, this disease is accompanied by symptoms such as bloody diarrhea, severe dehydration, and in some cases, death. Since 2020, the rise in antibiotic resistance has led to over half of Shigella infections being multi-drug resistant, thus prompting major public health warnings like that demonstrated in number 3. To combat this, my research focuses on understanding how Shigella controls the genes that it needs to infect the host in hopes of identifying new and novel drug targets to treat these infections. So let's picture Shigella as a group of microscopic thieves. So once inside the human body, a key protein called VIR-B acts as the criminal mastermind responsible for disarming the silent alarms, or in our cases, the silencing proteins that keep these harmful Shigella genes off. VIR-B, however, cannot act alone. It requires a passcode in order to disarm the system and turn these genes on, and this is where my research comes in. Displayed at number 4, my work demonstrates for the first time that VIR-B binds to a small molecule called CTP, and this is indicated by the appearance of a bullseye in the presence of hot CTP and the subsequent disappearance of that bullseye only in the presence of cold CTP. Thus, with the help of the CTP passcode, VIR-B can successfully disarm the system, turn these harmful genes on, and let the rest of the Shigella heist crew spring into action, thus invading our host cells and bypassing the immune system like thieves running out of a museum with billions in crown jewels. Now, my story doesn't end here. Indicated at number 5, if I make changes in VIR-B so that it can no longer interact with CTP, I can prevent VIR-B from ever turning these harmful genes on. So like the detectives that ultimately apprehended the Louvre thieves, I'm starting to piece together the molecular clues of how VIR-B and CTP collaborate to hijack the human body. In the future, if we can create drugs that block this interaction between VIR-B and CTP, we can stop Shigella before it can launch its next regulatory heist. Now, to put some of this work into perspective, my science enhances our understanding of how virulence genes, or these harmful genes, are regulated, and this mechanism is likely widespread in several bacterial pathogens. Additionally, my work is the first to tie the virulence of our pathogen Shigella to bacterial CTP pools, which are found in many bacteria. And lastly, our work, and now that of others, has identified that this CTP binding pocket of our protein VIR-B is essential to its virulence. Thus, this is a novel bacterial drug target for future work. With that, thank you to the board for allowing me to speak today, and I will take any questions.
Are there any board members with questions? Yeah. I don't see any questions. Thank you very much for your presentation. It was fantastic. Thank you.
And now, Dr. Ayan Sengupta, our Professor of Health, Physics, and Diagnostic Sciences.
Hello, everyone. Am I audible?
Yep.
Thank you, President Heavey, for the wonderful introduction, and good afternoon to the members of the board, my colleagues of UNLV and NSHE, and the respected members of the public present here in the audience today. I am Dr. Ayan Sengupta. I am an assistant professor in the School of Integrated Health Sciences. Today, I'm going to tell you a story about how do I get this to, okay. Today, I'm going to tell you a story about my journey through exploring different facets of the human brain. I was born and raised in Kolkata in India, fondly referred to as the city of joy. However, my passion for understanding the functioning of the human brain landed me in the University of Nebraska as a graduate student. After finishing my master's degree here, I have been pretty much a globe-trotting scientist, doing my PhD in Germany on ultra-high field brain MRI with renowned scientists in the field, performing my postdoctoral research in the University of Cambridge, etc. One of the key highlights is my postdoctoral research work in Sir Peter Mansfield Imaging Center in UK. Sir Peter Mansfield, as you can see here, was awarded the Nobel Prize in Medicine in 2003 for discovering MRI. And this picture shows Sir Peter in one of the earliest prototypes of the MRI scanner. I would like to take pride in the fact that I worked with several people in this photograph. Here, I would like to highlight an important scientific experiment that we performed. We all have 5 fingers on our hands, and we used ultra-high field MRI technology for imaging these individual fingers and the corresponding processing centers in the brain. Those are color-coded in there if you want to see those. This we actually used to study, like our finger representations in normal healthy participants, and also with people with focal hand dystonia or writer's cramp. This is very important in also understanding how people or astronauts function in space. That brings me to the amazing work that UNLV has helped me do. I have collaborated with NASA and a commercial spaceflight provider called Axiom, and I am currently doing a project with them where I am looking at spaceflight-associated neuroocular syndrome. Almost 70% of all the astronauts have this syndrome because our central nervous system has developed and evolved over time, thousands of years, to work in gravity. In space, we do not have that. So what happens is that there is upward shift of the brain, redistribution of the CSF, the ventricular volume increases, and most importantly, there is fine motor impairment that is being shown in the astronauts. What happens with that is that the critical mission-limiting, failures might occur if you cannot drive the rover on Mars, cannot handle the landing of the rocket on the Earth, or all those kind of extravehicular activities. This is where the mapping of the hands in the brain becomes very important, because we need to see that how the astronauts can function with that in space. We are very happy to report, I am very happy to report that our study got selected out of only 50 international projects for the Axiom's 4 space mission. And these are the astronauts that we actually worked with Johnson Space Center and did brain MRI and scans on them. We are trying to analyze the data and find some really cool understanding about that. This brings us to the UNLV's neuroimaging core. This is one of the state-of-the-art facilities and one of its kind in the state at the moment, where we have a 3 Tesla Siemens Prisma scanner, and we have got all these cool equipments to be able to do functional MRI scans with auditory and sensory stimulations. I am very proud to serve as the Associate Director of Imaging for this imaging core, and I want to take this forward with all the senior leadership here in UNLV. All this while, I have been talking about MRI, and that is a traditional MRI that we are talking about. And I'm sure quite a few of you guys have already been in an MRI scanner. That's a big machine. Now I am talking about an MRI system that is portable, has been launched only in 2024, which is last year, and this is how it looks like. It's literally MRI on wheels. We can do an MRI scan on people with pacemakers. Think about it. Now we are getting, like what my research focuses on is to bring this to the people, to the underserved communities in the state, countrywide, or even globally. We are going to create like mobile imaging centers like this and provide doorstep service on these kind of things. I am also using AI-enabled algorithms to try and see how we can improve the image quality of these scanners to make it somewhat at par with the systems, the big systems that we have in the hospital. With that, I would like to thank all of you to listen to me, and I would really encourage if you have any questions for me, shoot.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Absolutely impressive. Just out of curiosity, based on the research that you do, are you interested in taking a look at what this is for you to travel in space?
Well, we are living in a very exciting times. In the last century, this was when air flight, like the planes that we take at the moment, I think the rocket technology, especially with SpaceX having, like reusable rockets and all, we are kind of at that inflection point. If we can get, and that's why the commercial space flight companies are coming up. Very soon, the international space stations that we see at the moment will be replaced by a private international space station. And companies are working towards that. So yes, maybe in 100 years, or maybe even earlier, we would be able to get a ticket to space.
Thank you again. Are there any regents with questions?
Yes, Chair.
Regent Barley?
Thank you, Chair. Great stuff you're doing. I'm impressed. This way, to your left.
Sorry.
All right. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, all right. That's fine. Now, these magnetic resonance, if you have too much of that, I mean, like getting in an MRI or more, how does it affect the actual brain? Can you, in a small answer, does it affect it? Because why I bring that up, because there's great issues with the magnets that are in microwaves, and people are afraid of being near them, and they affect you, blah, blah, blah. So how does it affect you if you get too much of it, the magnetism? How does that work?
The coolest part of MRI is that it is non-invasive.
Okay.
There is no ionizing radiation in MRI. And I'm very glad that you mentioned about the magnetic resonance.
Yeah.
That is the reason why we have got the magnet, which is, like getting the images for you. So that is a very high field magnet, like the ones that you see in the hospital is a 1.5 Tesla system. They are being measured. The unit of measurement is Tesla. And then the one we have here is 3 Tesla. We also have like 7 Teslas and 9.4 Teslas or something like that. But they are non-ionizing radiations. So you are not exposed to anything that you're talking about. So
that was a nice, simple answer. I like that. Thank you so much. Great job. Keep it up.
Thank you again for the presentation.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. We'll move now to agenda item number 3, Regents welcomes and reports. Are there any regents that? Okay, we'll start at this end with Regent McGrath and work our way around. Thank you.
Well, I know Regent Del Carlo is going to speak, but I want to be the first to congratulate Carol DiCarlo on becoming the chair of the National ACCT Board. We all congratulate you, and it's quite an accomplishment. And I know we really celebrate your commitment to improving the community college experience here in our system and really throughout the country. So congratulations. We're very proud of you.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Yes, sir. I happened to be at a safety seminar that was held here just a couple of weeks back, and it was really interesting about the readiness of the country for any terrorist attack or anything happening. And we talked about it in our safety committee when we had the safety committee meeting. And sadly, most of us in the country are not prepared, are not ready, and don't believe anything will happen. So it was brought up to me by some people on the radio also that this is something we need to double down on. And I wish we could get more seminars here. Like I think it was at the ARIA, I forget which one of the two. And I just say that we should have more of these kind of seminars for NSHE as well as Las Vegas and our police forces. Thank you, Chair. That's about it. And congratulations to you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Regent DelCarlo?
Thank you, Chair Brooks. And that is the big news since our last convening. And I was really pleased to have all four community college presidents attend. And that was very special to me. And those of you that have been in the system as long as I have will remember Dr. Solis was also there. Dr. Pollard is now in her new role as the AACC CEO and president, and that's the sister organization to ACCT. We're the trustees, they represent the community college presidents, but we worked hand in hand together. And those of you that would know too, Nate McKinnon, who was our community college chancellor, he's vice chancellor, he's now in Massachusetts and runs their community college system. So it was great to have friends from around the country there. We had 1,900 attendees. It was one of our largest, and who doesn't want to go to New Orleans? What a fun place and what fabulous food. We had 150 different seminars, and this is really where I have really learned so much over the last 9 years attending every one of these conferences. One of the nicest things about being the national chair is that I get to pick a theme to work on this next year, and I announced at the Congress that my theme was going to be the health and well-being of our leaders, our CEOs, our faculty, all of us, because we do focus on the students, of course, but the person at the top, we sometimes overlook them, and we've got to really be thinking of their health and well-being to help students. So we will be leaving next week, going to DC and meeting with our staff there to set out our plans for the next year. We also have the national legislative summits coming up for Regents. The deadline for early bird pricing is December 19th. It's in DC, February 8th to the 11th. So it's really important that we go and make our voice heard. We got Workforce Pell and the big bill in June, and that's something I've been advocating for since I've been on the board since 2017. We finally got it. This is a game changer for our students to not have to be on a degree-seeking institution or a degree program. It's going to be for the workforce. It's going to be a game changer. Let's see what else. And my first official business, I went to the UK and attended the Association of Colleges. This is our sister organization in the UK for community colleges. They don't use the word community, but there are 270 colleges in the UK. They meet annually in Birmingham, so we took the train there, and they have very many of the same issues we have. One they don't have is declining enrollment, so that's kind of good. And that's all I've got. Thank you.
Thank you. Regent Kokachia?
Yes, well, I'll be a lot briefer than that. This is my 1-year anniversary. A year ago today, I was in Reno getting sworn in or whatever, and I'm still trying to get my arms around it. So thank you all and be patient.
Regent Batista?
Yeah, I just wanted to say congratulations to Regent DelCarlo on her new position. And also, UNLV plays against Boise tomorrow. Go Rebels. Yeah. That's all.
Regent Arascata?
Thank you, Chair Brooks. During the week of November 16th through 19th, I attended a 4-day conference in Baltimore, Maryland for the Complete College America, CCA. They advocate to dramatically increase college completion rates and closing institutional performance gaps. And while there, they had numerous multiple breakout sessions that were really and truly applicable to what we have with our system today. Especially with academic research and student affairs, some of the breakout sessions, and I'm just going to highlight a couple of them, 7 of them. We're kickstarting AI-enabled operations to support the mission, advanced messaging strategies, a deep dive into communications for higher education reform, attended an exclusive 10th anniversary screening of the documentary No Greater Odds. And I know that Dr. James McCoy is here in the College of Southern Nevada, which was a remarkable presentation prior to the movie, and the award-winning, the Emmy Award-nominated documentary. It followed inspirational stories of 5 community college students at the College of Southern Nevada. And I know Dr. McCoy at the conclusion gave an update of those 5 students and what they're doing today. A few more of the breakout sessions was the Every Student, Every Course, which was high impact academic support, which really focused on the academic support and guiding and educational assistance to assure that whatever student is seeking assistance, to be quite honest, help with their studies, with their food, with their housing, with books, with mental health services, that those are being addressed. We also focused on, I also attended a conference on scaling student success system-wide, and this was a good one for me. The next one is dual enrollment and open education resources, and I'll talk more about that on another meeting in ARSA. And the very last one that I did attend on the last day was what's moving the needle, examining the impact of direct admissions, dual enrollment, and universal FAFSA across the nation. All of these are definitely beneficial and were applicable to what we do and serve here with our system of higher education. Chair Brooks, thank you for the opportunity to give an update.
Thank you, Regent Darascotta. Regent Brown?
Thank you. Regent Brown for the record. So as we approach the end of 2025, this also marks my 3rd year on the board, and I'm officially halfway through my term. I'm incredibly proud of the progress that we've made together and grateful for the partnerships of my colleagues and the staff. One of the reasons I ran for this position was to ensure that we stay focused on the reality that our students are a future pipeline for Nevada's economy. That means that we must support them not only in learning, but in graduating and completing credentials that translate into opportunity. Our work on credit for prior learning is a major step in that direction. This initiative will expand access for thousands of Nevadans who have real-world experience that can now turn that into academic progress. That's exactly the type of system-wide impact I hope to help advance when I joined this board. I want to make sure that I acknowledge our faculty senate presidents and our student body presidents. Your insight and willingness to share your experience make us better decision makers. Thank you for your public comments and for everything you do to strengthen our campuses. On a lighter note, I wanted to share last week, I had the privilege of emceeing the 2nd annual Trivia Bowl between the students of the Honors College at UNR and UNLV. It was an absolutely wonderful event, and both teams represented their institutions with pride. I want to say thank you to everyone who made that cross-campus collaboration possible. Congratulations to Regent Del Carlo on getting her gavel. It was very special to be there to witness that. She even wrote me into running for a regional position, so Nevada will continue to be well represented at ACCT. Thank you to UNLV for hosting. Best of luck to UNLV football tomorrow in the Mountain West Conference Championship game. And I hope to see many of you on the December 6th memorial on Saturday. Thank you.
Regent Goodman?
Thank you. I just wanted to speak quickly to an initiative that I'm very excited about. I basically ran because individuals were telling me that they felt like they didn't have free speech on campuses. And that's both on campus and in the classroom. And I met with some faculty who actually pulled in a nonprofit that basically assesses freedom of speech on campuses for free. And this nonprofit did an assessment of UNLV, and it was very eye-opening. And what's wonderful is they gave us some documentation that basically says, this is what you can do to improve your freedom of speech on your campuses, and this is how you can get a better grade. And so I'm very excited about this, and I am going to, along with Regent McGrath and Regent Brager, move forward to ensure that we do this assessment on all campuses so that we can make sure that our freedom of speech, both on the campus and in the classroom, is really a true freedom. So I'm very excited about it. We're going to be moving forward with this, and I just love it when we can actually make a difference, a positive change. So thank you very much.
Regent Brager, do you have anything?
I just want to again thank Carol DiCarlo for what she's done and what she continues to do. So thank you for that.
Regent Downs?
Yes, thank you. I want to begin by congratulating Regent DiCarlo on her new role with ACCT. That's well earned, and I look forward to seeing what becomes of in your time there. I also had the opportunity to attend the 51st AMATIC conference at American Mathematical Association and two-year colleges. And there are a lot of sessions on co-requisite education that I attended, but I wanted to recognize Dave Singleton from NSHE, who presented on Nevada's statewide post-secondary math alignment, Nevada's launch year experience, and just acknowledge his successful presentation and for representing NSHE well. Thank you.
Regent Cabral.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I also want to extend my heartfelt congratulations to Regent DiCarlo on her new leadership role. That is a big deal for Nevada and for community colleges, and any way that I can support her, I'm here for you. And I'm sorry I wasn't there. Anyway, I know that you were well vetted and represented, so that's great. I'm also a state coordinator for ACCT, and I provided my my update remotely, obviously, but I do want to give a shout out to Renee Davis and Natalie Brown for always being there to help me give a great report. As the NSHE member of the Springs Preserve, I attended the meeting on September 24th. The Springs Preserve has seen an increase in attendance from previous years, and they had a record attendance for their Dia de los Muertos programming in the fall, and they continue to praise NSHE for our partnership. I also attended my first meeting of the State Board of Education as the NSHE representative last month. Dr. Victor Wakefield is the new state superintendent of schools, and he's excited to strengthen the partnership between the state board and NSHE. And I hope that we can coordinate a joint meeting, and hopefully we can do that very soon. I also want to thank UNLV Dean David Cardenas of the UNLV Hera College of Hospitality for inviting me to this year's immersive dinner theater, a murder mystery dinner, Kylie's 21st and Last. It was an honor to see the results of all the students' hard work to make it a true success and such a fun evening. And it was wonderful to share the evening with Dean Cardenas, Dean Nancy Usher, and President Heavey, who ended up having a starring role in the evening, which was a lot of fun. Lastly, I want to thank our student, classified, and faculty leaders who are here with us today during these very busy last weeks of the fall semester. Your dedication is seen and appreciated. And to the UNLV and UNR winter graduates, I extend my sincere congratulations. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Regent Fernandez.
Thank you very much, Chair. So the Association of Governing Boards of Universities and Colleges, or ABG, is the national organization that supports higher education governing boards in fulfilling their fiduciary duty. Their focus is helping boards protect institutional autonomy, upholding academic freedom, free expression, and keep student success and mission at the center of the decision-making. I wanted to announce that AGB has launched a new Govern Now initiative that responds directly to the pressures that governing boards are facing across the country. As part of that effort, they created a Govern Now Leadership Academy, which is a national cohort of 30 board members who will work together on real-world governance challenges. And I'm honored to share that I have been selected as one of the 30 participants in this inaugural cohort. The Academy includes 4 virtual sessions in January and February 2026 on board governance in the current environment, dealing with political intrusion, academic freedom, and freedom of speech, followed by an in-person workshop at the AGB National Conference on Trusteeship in Denver. The program is case-based and discussion-driven with expectations that participants bring back concrete recommendations to the board, which I do look forward to be able to discuss at our next board meetings after we attend. So for NSHE, this means that we'll have direct access to current thinking, tools, and scenarios from national experts on exactly the issues that we're navigating in Nevada. My intent is to translate this experience into practical ideas for our own board development and how we could talk about risk and responsibility around speech, academic freedom, and how we continue to protect the autonomy and the integrity of our institutions while meeting our obligations under Nevada law and NSHE policy. I also want to briefly note related work here at home. On November 17th, I participated in UNLV CSUN Policy in Action Town Hall. It was a valuable opportunity to listen directly to students and discuss how governance decisions show up in their day-to-day experience. I also want to thank UNLV CSUN leadership, including my colleague Heather Brown, who also attended, Clark County Commissioner Tig Segaloroom, and William McCurdy for joining that conversation. A special thank you to Nancy Munoz, who is within CSUN, who brought the event together, centering around student voices in a thoughtful way. I'm really grateful for the opportunity to represent the Board of Regents in these different spaces, and I want to thank the chair for this time.
Thank you. And congratulations again, Regent Darcalo, and really, kudos and thank you to board members who continue to exemplify why they are in the elected position that they are in terms of moving things in a very positive manner in our communities and constantly staying focused and on top of things that can be done to enhance higher education in the state of Nevada. I really, I think it's fantastic the way this board continues to move in the positive manners that it does. What I'd like to do is I'm going to move through things a little bit differently because I really don't like running behind, and we are. However, there's some acknowledgments that I'm really interested in making. And so what I'm going to do is move the chair's report to, I'll move that to this, I'll move the agenda to hear the chair's report right now. And what I'd like to do is, I think it's the way the room is set up, it's unique in looking for a spot to not have my back towards anyone while I'm talking about somebody else. And so what I think I'll do is step up to the podium, and please excuse me if my back is to you for a few moments while I'm speaking, but I'm going to move up. So this might be an effective way to do this, and please excuse my back that's turned to my fellow regents. But, one of the great things, well, maybe there's a few things about being chair that I think are fantastic. And one of them is the ability to acknowledge folks on our campuses and people who really do some great things in our community. And so I had a great conversation with President Heavey about a faculty member who has been on the UNLV campus for 51 years. And if you have ever been to a commencement at UNLV, you'll know who the individual is, because he's the person leading the students out from the hall into where they will sit for graduation and commencement. Dr. Satish Bhatnagar is unique in his upbringing and his humble beginnings, I should say, where when he received notice that he was being appointed to work at UNLV, family and friends didn't believe him because they didn't believe there was a place in Las Vegas that provided education. And here we are approximately 51 years later, after writing 13 books, I believe, and other significant accomplishments. I thought it would be fantastic to honor him and acknowledge him with President Heavey. And what we'd like to do is present you with a certificate of achievement, and I would like President Heavey to please read that.
In honor of more than 51 years of dedicated service to the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, and in appreciation of your lasting contributions to teaching and student success, presented on this day, December 4th, 2025, by Byron Brooks, Chair of the Nevada System of Higher Education, and Chris Heavey, President of UNLV. Thank you for your contributions.
I'm not going to give any summary year by year. So I'll start by saying a few words in general. And first of all, I really want to thank Board Chairman Brian Brooks and the board members for recognizing my 51 years of service. Recognizing individual employees at any level in an organization is a sign of institutional maturity. At the outset, I dedicate this recognition to my two colleagues and friends, Sadanand Verma and Felicia Campbell. Both are resting in peace. Verma hired me as a visiting assistant professor in 1974. And here I am. He retired 3 years ago at the age of 92 after serving UNLV for 55 years. Felicia Campbell, professor of English, served for 58 years, a UNLV record. She had me on the committees of her graduate students and involved me in her annual literary conference in Las Vegas. Talking about longevity of 51 years reminds me of my college colleague in India, who had also served as a high school principal. He told me that once an agitated teacher complained that a teacher of 3 years in service had gotten a higher raise than him, who has been in service for 7 years. He told the disgruntled teacher that he had repeated the first year 7 times, while the other teacher was far more creative in 3 years. These words, said in 1964, are still embedded in my consciousness. I'm not claiming that all my 51 years are different. That's not possible. In the very first year, I taught 10 different courses. 10 different courses. In all, I have taught 75 different courses, regular, experimental, seminars in the honors college, etc. During this current semester, I have taught 2 sections of the same course. One might say, so what? Most instructors do it. But the last time I taught 2 sections of the same course was in fall of 1975, 50 years ago. I find it very boring to repeat myself. Academic freedom in the US universities, coupled with freedom to think and express, gradually ignited many intellectual sparks. They are channeled into my reflective writings. In the last 25 years, I have written nearly 2,000 pieces in 500 to 5,000 words. Some of them have been compiled and published in a dozen non-fiction books, no textbooks, in 7 different genres, namely mathematical, historical, philosophical, literary, religious, educational, and finally on humanistic history of mathematics. I may have sounded like I was bragging about myself as a polymath, but at my age of 86 years, I have some license, which will be 12 days. It is my non-traditional record that is speaking. Adding a bit of salsa to it, last night, at midnight actually, I Googled my name, Satish C. Bhatnagar, for the fun of it. My Google index. So what's the Google index? Google index is the number of pages or sites that open up. It was more than 200. It's a measure of one's general impact, positive or negative, of course, both. Also, my cumulative index of holistic contribution to UNLV, which is defined as a sum of solo publications, different courses taught, and different committees served, is 140. That is how UNLV and UNR faculty can compete with faculty at Harvard, Princeton, and Stanford. When you take into consideration all the 3 components of teaching, research, and service. Finally, I thank the board again and appreciate the presence of my colleagues, friends, relatives, and my both daughters who are UNLV alumni. Thank you.
Thank you for all your time.
That's fantastic. I'd like to make one more acknowledgement for a couple that has been part of the UNLV campus and student life here for over 20 years. And the things that they do and the initiatives that they have created for our campus, particularly for student life and various programs. And some of those are specific for our Jewish students who are on campus, but not all things are specific that they do for our Jewish students on campus. They are extraordinarily welcoming and service all students on campus, and that's what makes them so fantastic. Rabbi Tzvi and his wife Rivki are part of Chabad and the Chabad house at UNLV. And if I would say and encourage that if you have never been to the Chabad house for a Shabbat or for any other type of holiday, Jewish holiday service, please go check it out, because they are extraordinarily welcoming and will make you feel like family the moment that you come into the door. And on behalf of the board, I'd like to present the rabbi and his wife with an acknowledgement, and I want to be able to read it because there's a lot that I could say about how fantastic the two of you are, but it's summarized in the certificate. And so it says, in recognition of more than 20 years of dedicated service to the UNLV community and to Chabad students, we proudly honor your unwavering devotion and commitment to creating a warm and inclusive place for students, faculty, and community members. Through your tireless work, you have founded and sustained campus-wide programs that foster Jewish learning, spirituality, and fellowship. You have welcomed students from across the university into the Chabad House to celebrate Shabbat and Jewish holidays, participate in Torah study, and join in cooking classes and other meaningful experiences. You have provided a safe, supportive, and loving environment where students can explore their Jewish identities, engage in cherished traditions, and build lasting connections. During the painful and traumatic events of the December 6, 2023 campus shooting, you transformed the Chabad House into a sanctuary, offering comfort, empathy, and a place for students to gather, share their experiences, and process their grief. Your wisdom, compassion, and steadfast leadership has touched countless lives, bringing comfort, clarity, and inspiration to many. You have strengthened our community and helped make UNLV a more caring, connected, and resilient place. With profound appreciation, we honor your compassion, and Tikkun Olam, the Board of Regents. Thank you. Please come forward. Thank you. Thank you, Rabbi. Thank you for all you do. Thank you both. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, thank you, everyone. Such wonderful presentations. We will move on to item number 4, Chair of the Nevada Student Alliance Report. We'll bring on Jennifer Rodriguez Serrano, Chair of the Nevada Student Alliance. Please come up, Jennifer.
Hi.
Oh, there
I'm
you
right
are.
here.
Hi, Jennifer.
Hi. I just want to start off with saying good afternoon to the chair, the vice chair, the regents, and the chancellor. I am so happy to be here, even after a 7-hour drive here, full of sagebrush and the desert. Very beautiful scenery, which is our state. I love it. I'm excited to share all the exciting events going on in each of our institutions that are part of NSA. So to start off, we'll start off with GBC's SGA. We just sent our constitution to our institution's legal for review. We are in the works to create a survey that will help us address the needs of all our students on all 4 of our campuses and online. We are continuing work on upstarting and revamping our food pantries as well as our new student organization model. We finished creating our scholarship applications, and those 2 scholarships will go live sometime in January for our students. Moving on, NSU's NSSA has been working toward one of its main goals, which is reducing out-of-pocket costs for students. To support this, they've reached out and visited 8 local food chains to explore potential partnerships for the NSU community. They've also released 7 scholarships this semester, offering awards up to $1,400. These will be the first semesterly scholarships available to NSU students. They are also revising their constitutions and bylaws. And last but not least, as this fall semester comes to a close, they are preparing to welcome students back in the spring with new murals on their campus. It is set to be ready during the first week of the semester for a grand opening. TMCC's SGA has hosted an SGA Feedback Forum event, where students were able to meet the officer team and share feedback and or concerns in exchange for SGA goodies. TMCC's SGA officers have been continuing work on several projects alongside getting more involved with campus with their campus committees. They've also passed a new resolution in support of a $1 per fee increase to the student activities fee. This fee will help further fund student activities and allow the SGA to continue serving their students. UNR-ASUN is continuously working on shared governance and gearing up for Welcome Back Week. They've had new resolutions passed by their Senate and observed by their executive team. Some of those being in support of the UndocuPAC, in support of a student fee for the Nevada Sagebrush, and in support of the student fee for the Honors College. They are also observing and following state legislation, and they are still working on their PAC provisions from food drives and reaching out to community members. UNR's GPSA continues to advocate on several key issues impacting their student community. Their executive team is currently developing a formal proposal to ensure that campus policy serves the need and the safety of the students, not the other way around. The GSA has also officially approved a resolution in support of the UndocuPAC program, following the recent communication from the U.S. Department of Justice to the Department of Education. This action reflects their commitment to safeguarding the rights and well-being of all their students. This month, they've also hosted the GSA Friendsgiving and the GSA Breakfast, which both saw an excellent turnout and a strong participation from across the campus. Looking ahead, they are preparing for their final event of the semester, which is Donuts and Coffee, which is next week. CSN's ASCSN. Their student government has continued prioritizing transparency and student engagement as CSN prepares for the upcoming college-wide and NSHE-wide fee increases. On the topic of this, CSN has hosted 2 open forums at each of their 3 main campuses to inform students and to give the students a chance to discuss with administrators. CSN students generally support the CSN specific increases, but expect clear updates on how funds are to be used and visible progress in targeted areas, as well as defined accountability protocols. Lastly but not least, they will continue to advocate for transparent reporting, measurable benchmarks, and ongoing communication so that students can remain informed and confident that their financial contributions lead to meaningful and visible improvements across their campus. UNLV's GPSA. They are very close to finishing their own constitutional overhaul. We're all doing constitution changes, but they're also working with the UNLV Grad College closely to revamp their graduate and professional research forum. The UNLV December 6th Memorial is taking place this Saturday in the courtyard just outside the Student Union. The event will begin at 10 a.m., so they wanted to let you all know that if you're still in town by then, that you are more than welcome to join. Lastly but not least, they did want to share that they won the Fremont Cannon again. And UNLV CSUN, their 1117 town hall was successful with Commissioner McCurdy and Commissioner Segelbaum in attendance. The CSN Commuter Fund, which is a $15,000 sponsorship to support student access to the campus, has over 100 applicants as of this morning. They are also commissioning diversity banners in partnership with the GPSA here at UNLV to make student government resources more accessible, and they're planning on creating Wright Hall Study Space in partnership with the UNLV admins. And then WNC's ASWN partnered with the WNC's Healthy Campus Committee and the Foundation Office to host a food drive for their holiday bags. They will give out these holiday food bags to students on December 11th. They will also host their week-long De-Stress Fest, offering students the opportunity to participate in activities, games, crafts, food, and more to support and motivate their students during finals weeks. They are also looking forward to hosting a listening session with the Chancellor on December 9th. And most excitedly, they plan to volunteer at the Carson City Holiday with a hero event on December 17th at the Carson City Walmart. This annual Christmas shopping spree brings together volunteers from local businesses and organizations to help wrap gifts for students in need. That is all I have to report. Thank you for listening. And from everybody in the Nevada Student Alliance, we wish you all a very happy holiday season. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll now move on to agenda item number 5. And I would ask the NSHE Classified Council President, Stacy Fott, to present her report.
Good afternoon, Chair Brooks, Vice Chair Goodman, fellow Regents, and attendees. My name is Stacy Fott. That's spelled S-T-A-C-E-Y. The last name is F-O-T-T. I am the current president for the Nevada System of Higher Education NSHE Classified Council for the fiscal year 2026. The 2026 Classified Regents Award process is underway, and we're looking forward to assisting in that selection process again this year. We thank you, Board of Regents, for offering this opportunity to recognize the outstanding work of a classified employee. We are working on scheduling dates to meet with Chancellor McNair and work to build a strong rapport between the Chancellor's Office and the NSHE Classified Council. In addition, we would like to establish a date to meet with the Board of Regents in light of upcoming legislative sessions to continue our collaborative work. Our constituents have repeatedly brought to our attention the discrepancy between NSHE institutions regarding grant and aid benefits to dependents. Our fellow classified staff members are asking for the same benefits that our academic and administrative faculty coworkers receive. To have our dependents be able to attend any institution, regardless of the geographical area. We look forward to having further discussions with Chancellor McNair regarding the next steps. Once again, thank you for the opportunity to represent the NSHE Classified Council. Thank you.
Thank you. And we'll now move on to agenda item number 6. And we'll hear from the chair of the faculty, the Council of Faculty Senate Chairs, Dr. Adele.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Did I hit the button right? Good. Good afternoon, Ginger Doe for the record, Chair Brooks, Vice Chair Goodman, Regents, Presidents, and distinguished guests. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. As the chair of the Council of Faculty Senate Chairs, I'm speaking on behalf of the 9 faculty senates across the Nevada System of Higher Education, representing approximately 3,000 academic faculty and a portion of the roughly 2,800 administrative faculty who serve students throughout the state. Taken together, NSHE faculty form a diverse and dedicated academic workforce committed to student success, research excellence, and community engagement. NSHE is unique with regards to the types of institutions and their geographic distribution, with 2 R1 research universities, a comprehensive state university, 4 primarily 2-year institutions, and the Desert Research Institute. Through these institutions and the faculty at the Systems Computing Services, we serve over 100,000 students from across the state in both urban and rural areas. We are deeply committed to their success as we work to improve their lives through instruction, mentorship, and research opportunities. From our collective and diverse perspectives, we would like to comment on a few items on the meeting agenda. When the student tuition and fees increase agenda item is heard in the future, the Council of Faculty Senate Chairs will be ready to share an opinion. We would like to comment on the salary schedule update, agenda item 27. We appreciate the efforts and recognize that it is necessary to attract high-quality faculty to all NSHE institutions. As these studies are undertaken and considered, we request that the high cost of living in Nevada is included and that salary compression is also studied, evaluated, and resolved. This will help us both welcome and retain high-quality faculty. The next item we would like to comment on is agenda item number 16, concerning the Faculty Evaluation and Workplace Culture Working Group. We recognize that promoting a healthy workplace culture that fosters academic freedom, collaboration, and mutual respect are critical to fulfilling our shared mission. We request additional faculty representation on this working group. Recent conversations with Chancellor McNair and others have suggested this is possible. This change would allow representation from the varied types of institutions and help ensure that the group's findings or recommendations are applicable across the system. Broader representation would also support stronger communication, transparency, and trust as the group begins its work. In recognition of shared governance, we recommend that those who are most affected by this group's work have more representation on this committee. We look forward to working with the students, the provosts, and Vice Chancellor Archer in the spirit of shared governance. We remain committed to working closely with the Chancellor's Office on this and any future working groups where faculty voices are essential. The challenges facing higher education require thoughtful system-wide collaboration, and as Faculty Senate Chairs, we are all ready to contribute our time, experience, and perspective. We take our responsibility to serve our constituents to heart and are ready and willing to contribute and serve. We are thankful for the Board and Chancellor's continued support of academic freedom and shared governance. Thank you for your time and for your service to Nevada's higher education community.
Thank you. We'll skip agenda item number 7. We already moved agenda item number 8. We'll go to agenda item number 9, which is the consent items. And what I'll ask is if there is a motion for consent items 9A through 9G.
I would make a motion for 9A through 9G for acceptance.
Is there a second? So we have a motion by Regent Breger to approve the consent items and a second by Regent
It's Boylan.
Boylan.
Yes.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye or yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Those who oppose, please signify by saying no or nay. Thank you. Before we move on to agenda item number 10, which is the institutional performance matrix with UNLV, lunch has been ready for a little bit. It came up on us pretty quickly, but we'll take a little bit of time to grab some lunch. And I think what we'll do is make this a working lunch so that we can keep the meeting moving. So we'll probably break as Regents for about 10 minutes to make sure that we can all get some food and then continue on with the meeting. Thank you. Was able to get something to eat, at least make a plate and bring it back to their seat. But we are going to move on to the next agenda item number 10. And I'll turn this over to President Heavey.
Thank you very much, Chair Brooks, and delighted to have a few minutes to talk to you about the great things that are happening at UNLV. I seem to be missing a few of my pages. So we're delighted to have you on our campus, and as the Research University of Southern Nevada, we have a lot to be proud of. Like our sister institution in the north, we're a Carnegie R1 institution, and we also have the Carnegie classification for community engagement. Only 2% of the institutions in the country have both of those points of pride, and we also this last year earned the Seal of Excellencia to show our excellence in serving our large Hispanic student population. 150,000 alumni strong, and most are first generation graduates, most from Nevada, and having a very large economic impact in the state of Nevada with all of the things we do. And we're very proud to celebrate record enrollment last 2 years. Now just a little bit short of 34,000 students at UNLV, and we're seeing a lot of growth both at the undergraduate level and at the graduate level, which shows the diverse portfolio of programs that we offer that students are finding value in. We are oriented toward making sure that we're meeting the important workforce demands of our state, and we've added some important new degree programs, including cybersecurity, which is enrolled many times the number of students that were expected initially. We have an online MBA program. We started our new insurance and risk management program, which you may recall you approved the Caressi Center for Insurance and Risk Management, and all of the students in this new insurance and risk management degree received full ride scholarships to study insurance and risk management. We have a new neuroscience undergraduate degree, which is doing great. Applied health sciences degree is grown by about 50% over the last year. Engineering is, again, record enrollment after last year, counting one of our most valuable degrees up 23%, and business is growing like gangbusters. Also seeing critical growth in key workforce shortage areas, including nursing and elementary education. We're not just doing degrees, we're also making sure that we're offering high-value micro-credentials that help people's employability. And so we have a whole micro-credential system now that earns badges to recognize these micro-credentials in things like nuclear technology and forensic DNA analysis, even Chinese language and culture and entrepreneurship. And students can do this in the credit space and in the non-credit space so that they can get value without earning a full degree or add those
micro-credentials to their degrees to show employers the kinds of things that they are able to do and the skills that they have. This is our breakdown of race and ethnicity, and we're proud to be a majority-minority campus by a long shot. It's worth noting here that these are the IPEDS categories, and these IPEDS classifications dramatically underestimate some of the groups that we have. And so, for example, American Indian and Alaskan Native, it shows 111 students there. If you add in all of the students who identify one of their ethnicities as American Indian or Alaska Native, that number jumps to 1,700 students. So we have many students in the American Indian and Alaska Native category. The same for African American. We have 3,000 Black African American students in that IPEDS category, but if you list all of the students who identify one of their races as Black or African American, it goes more than double, up to 7,200 students. And so that's an important way to understand the actual profile of our students. Along with being highly diverse, we also serve many lower income students. And so over the last decade, we've seen dramatic increases in the number of Pell eligible students who have gone up by 12% since 2016 year. And so you'll see we're now almost 50% of our students are coming into UNLV as Pell eligible, indicating that they're coming from more modest economic backgrounds. And this is considered a risk factor for completion because, as you might imagine, Pell eligible students often have more difficulty paying for their education. So, as you'll see in a minute, our statistics of improving graduation rates are an important metric that shows that we're continuing to serve these more vulnerable students well. Proud of our increases in dual enrollment as well. Like many of our sister institutions, we've leaned into this since Governor Sandoval passed the requirement while he was governor that all high schools have partnerships with higher education institutions, and now we have partnerships with 30 high schools, and now at 1,600 students as of fall 2024, we're actually at that was actually fall 2023. We're actually at 2,100 students by fall 2024. And if we look at it this semester, we're actually at 2,600 students in dual enrollment. So we're seeing dramatic increases of about 500 students a year increase over the last 2 years. It's still only about 8% of the overall enrollment of the university. And we're doing a lot to make sure that students are engaged and have what they need to be successful. Very proud to have finished our third year of Rebel Ready Week, which is our extended orientation 1 week before classes start. We want to make sure that every student at the start of classes has a new friend, knows how the campus works, and is really prepared to be successful. And so we welcomed about 3,400 students this fall to Rebel Ready Week, and it's a cost-free opportunity for them to get ready for classes to start the following Monday. And it's a really fun time with over 445 total sessions offered to the students. We're also using technology to drive student success, and so we have our Rebel Success Hub, which is a Salesforce-based advising platform where students can open tickets for any kinds of questions they have to make sure that they get routed to the correct office and they don't have to tell their story 3 different times to 3 different offices. And Rebel Success Hub is also accompanied by a chatbot that allows students to ask our AI-powered chatbot questions they may have. And if the AI chatbot can't answer the questions, they get escalated to a live agent who can make sure that they get where they need to be. We're excited about our peer mentoring program to support students and our first year and second year courses that are some of our high impact practices. High impact practices are practices that are known to drive student success, and we're proud to say that 95% of UNLV undergraduates graduate with 2 or more high impact practices during their time at UNLV. And so with that, we're having high persistence, even though we have more financially at-risk students. We did have a slight drop in our year-over-year retention rates during COVID, as many institutions did, where we're back up to 82%
first year to second year retention, and we've seen substantial increases in part-time student retention, reaching record levels there at almost 64%. And I think that's a reflection of the great kind of work that we're doing to support students. We want to think holistically about what it means to be a student, and so we're making sure we're also providing wellness services. We've almost doubled the number of counselors we have at our counseling and psychological services. You at UNLV is a platform to connect students to mental health resources. We have a basic needs programs that help students with whatever kinds of needs they might have, student organizations, and then you might recall that a little while ago you approved our Institute for Financial Literacy and Wellness, which does a lot to make sure that students are prepared for the world after they graduate in terms of financial literacy. And our personal finance course has seen booming enrollment with over 1,400 students taking that course last year. A great addition to our curriculum. And so all of this has added up to a steady increase in our six-year graduation rate, now up to just below 52%. It rounds up to 52% in 2025. And so that's a 10-year increase of 11% in the six-year graduation rate, which is kind of the standard metric that they use to look at overall student graduation. Is 150% of expected degree time. And during that time, we've also substantially closed the achievement gaps among our different groups. There's a lot of numbers on this slide, but you can basically think about the fact that in 2016, the spread of the different groups represented here was 19 percentage points, and now we've got it down to 8 percentage points, with most of the students within 4 percentage points of the overall 52% graduation rate. So we've been working hard to make sure that we're closing achievement gaps and serving all of our students. And as you would expect, all of this adds up to increasing degree production, with the last several years also showing record numbers of students being awarded degrees. Almost 7,000 students earned degrees during the last academic year. This is a slide that has a lot of numbers on it. It's a little confusing to look at, but it shows the difference between non-Pell and Pell recipients. As I mentioned earlier, Pell is considered a risk factor nationally for graduation. And you could spend a lot of time talking about this slide, but basically on the left is the gap in 2011 in Pell and non-Pell recipients. And in the six-year graduation rate in 2011, there was an 8% gap between Pell and non-Pell recipients. And on the right, those two columns on the right are the 2016 cohort. And there we've closed that gap between Pell and non-Pell recipients to only 3%. And so we're very proud of making sure that we're supporting students to completion. So basically the Pell recipients in the 2016 cohort are graduating at about 48% compared to 51% for the non-Pell recipients. And this is the 2016 cohort. Our 52% graduation rate is actually the 2019 cohort. And so these numbers are getting even better. This goes back to the earlier cohorts because it also shows that students in that pink color continue to graduate in years 7 and 8, even though that doesn't get counted in the IPED standard 6-year graduation rate. We're making sure that, as I said, we're adding programs that are needed for our workforce. So we've cybersecurity, data analytics, information systems, and as you know, we have impact and global visibility with our hospitality program, ranked the best in the US and one of the top ranked programs in the world. And we're looking at spreading that program internationally, as we talked about at the recent meeting. One of the other metrics that's important is to see the earnings of students after they earn their college degree. They've spent some money getting that degree and some time. We want to make sure it's showing value. And these statistics show that our students consistently earn more than people with just a high school degree. And one way of measuring this is that on average, students take only 2.7 years to earn the money back that they've paid directly in their costs to UNLV after earning their degree through higher salary on average. So very proud of these numbers. And as you can see, the earnings go up after 5 years and 10 years post-degree.
We're also seeing increasing impact in the scholarly realm, and so these are citations of our research. This is the extent to which other people are using research produced at UNLV in their own work, and it's one of the metrics that scholars use to kind of assess the impact of work, and so we're seeing dramatic increases in the visibility and the usefulness of UNLV-produced research. We're also seeing growth in our research expenditures, though we did see a little bit of a drop post-COVID, again hitting a record at $118 million of research expenditures in the 2024-2025 year. It's worth noting that to be an R1 institution now, you basically need $50 million in research expenditures and 70 research doctorates. We have $118 million in research expenditures and 250 doctorates produced each year. And so we're way over the threshold now for being an R1 institution. And this research has important implications around the world for healthcare innovation. We do a lot of incredible work in brain health, and we also produce a lot of statistics that are valuable to the local community. The Center for Business and Economic Research just celebrated 50 years of producing important information for our local economy. The International Gaming Institute is world-renowned for its work and is now working in the space of gaming and AI, and our Cannabis Policy Institute is becoming a recognized leader in thinking about how to guide cannabis policy as the legalization of cannabis becomes more common. We're also driving economic growth with companies that are spinning off from our research, including atmospheric water harvesting in low humidity environments with our waiver, personalized medicine, other things. We also have a number of patents in the space of radiochemistry, including recovering strategic materials from spent nuclear waste. So we're doing a lot of interesting things that will have important economic impacts. You'll hear a little bit later about our West Side Micro Business Park collaboration with Clark County, and some of the other things that we're doing in the economic development space. We want to make sure we're also keeping up with the future of technology. The immersive learning environment that you approved a few years ago is now up and running, and if you haven't had a tour of that, it's really a spectacular facility, Dreamscape Learn, in our library, and we'd love to take you over there and show you what that's all about. We had a great generative AI fellows program where we had over 200 faculty working to learn how to use AI in their classroom and in their administrative work, and they're now becoming kind of train the trainers about the important impact of AI. And we're a national leader in the use of Salesforce to build a connected campus and support students cradle to alumni. And so really proud of the work that we're doing there. This is a slide that shows the breakdown of the different classifications of faculty and staff as requested. We've got about 5,300 full-time equivalent employees. If you look at the head count, it's over 7,000 employees. And we continually monitor the ratio of administrative staffing to academic faculty per FTE, and including did an analysis recently to show that among R1 institutions, we continue to be below the mean of the number of administrators we have per student FTE to make sure that we are spending our money wisely. We are very proud of our accreditation results. This was the overall mission fulfillment that review that was done last spring and completed this past summer with 4 commendations and 0 recommendations, and that's the second cycle in a row of our 7-year cycle where we've had no recommendations and 4 commendations. And Interim Chancellor Charlton basically called this result impossible because she'd never seen it before in her work with NWCCU. So we're really proud of the extent to which that reflects the great work we're doing in making sure that we're fulfilling our academic mission. And so basically we believe the future is bright for UNLV. We're excited that the best days of UNLV are in front of us with record enrollment, record graduation rate, huge numbers of graduates, and a high number of Pell-eligible students and first-generation students, and continuing to contribute to our local economy and our community in important ways, which we'll be talking about, some of which we'll be talking about later in this meeting. So thank you for listening to a short version of what's happening here, and I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Thank you, President Hevy. Are there any regents who have questions regarding the presentation? Regent Borland?
Thank you, Chair. President Hevy, I was remiss in my introduction, Regents, thank yous. We attended your Chinese, I'd like you to talk more about that, just a wee bit, to refresh what's happened so far since we last. It was you and Tendra, just an awesome team, and the rest of y'all. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that question, Regent Boylan. Yes, as the board may recall, you approved the SANS Institute for Chinese Language and Culture about a year ago based on a large philanthropic gift by SANS Corporation. And we partnered with them on what was called the U.S.-China Dialogue and brought in many nationally and internationally recognized speakers to talk about the importance of person-to-person connections between the U.S. and China and the bilateral relationship. It was a great 2 days, and we appreciate Regent Boylan and the others who were able to attend, and we look forward to more events like that in the future.
Thank you, President. Thank you, Chair.
Regent DelCarlo.
Thank you, Chair Brooks. Excellent report, and I just want to point out a couple things. I'm glad you've stayed with the Mental Health Center so strongly, because I remember first being on the board and the students were willing to go, I think it was $5 a credit back in those days. And it's really needed, and especially in today's environment. So thank you for being a leader on that. And you're also the leader doing this financial literacy. I think it's terrific. So many kids, I don't know if they know how to balance their checkbook all the time, but that part is so important because we want things now, but you got to think of the future. Really, really great job on your graduation rate, because I didn't think it was really good when I first got on the board, and you got it up. It's to 52. I think you're still lower than the national average, but it's continuous improvement, and I really appreciate that. This is a large institution, and the other thing I want to point out is a great job on starting micro-credentials. I remember seeing the presentation. I believe it was your Vice Provost, Kate Corrigan, at the time gave that, and I thought, geez, that's so great that you guys are doing that. So really great job, and thank you for the update.
Thank you.
We don't have any other questions. Thank you very much, President Heavey. With that, we'll move on to agenda item number 11. And I'll ask Executive Vice President and Provost Kate Corrigan to come on up and present your information. Thank you.
I'm a little shorter. There we go. All right, good afternoon, Chair Brooks, Regents, NSHE colleagues, presidents. I'm Kate Corrigan, the Acting Executive Vice President and Provost at UNLV, and I'd like to welcome you to our beautiful campus. As you heard from President Heavey, in our metrics presentation, we're doing quite well when it comes to student success and enrollment. We continue to strive and continue to improve. But students and their families and all of you and the state of Nevada rightfully expect more of us. And specifically, that more is that you don't want us just to deliver credentials and a degree. Our students, their families, the state expect us to deliver a clear set of skills to our students to help all graduates launch and extend or advance their career successfully. And so approximately 3 years ago at UNLV, we began asking, how can we do this at scale within our budget? And so I want to thank you for this opportunity to tell you a little bit of our story on career success at UNLV and update you on our progress. So in the last few years, we have done 3 sort of buckets of things in our career services arena. Now, I should note that we have a central career services office. That's what I'll be talking about today. We also have 3 outstanding career services centers in individual colleges, specifically hospitality, business, and engineering. But for our central career services, this is the team in the office that serves all of our students. And so we've done 3 things. First of all, we combined career services and workforce development because it didn't make a lot of sense to engage with employers in workforce development and engage with students in career services and not bring the 2 together. So by combining these teams into a single office, we now focus on student career and professional development while at the same time doing more substantial outreach and building more relationships with employers. Second, we embrace what we call a career everywhere model, right? And this is based on the notion of relationship-rich education. And this is a book by Lambert and Felton. And basically the argument is that human relationships on a campus significantly improve student success. And we at UNLV have been talking about relationship-rich education for a long time because it's a way to meet students where they are and to level the playing field, right? So the question is, how can we leverage these relationships that students have to help us build a network of support for their career and professional development? And so this Career Everywhere model is sort of the backbone of that approach to meet students where they are. And the third thing that we've done is we've moved beyond sort of traditional approaches to career services. And so one example of that is our career services is now what we call life design. And I don't know, some of you may know life design. It's certainly not just in higher education. It's really a Stanford-based approach developed on the basis of engineering design principles, right? Engineers and architects, they use this approach. And then some really smart faculty, professors at Stanford said, hey, this can be used for lots of things, this approach. And so life design is really an interactive, innovative process that helps people design, let's say, an academic pathway through their major to get to their degree more easily and swiftly and intentionally. Or it can be used to plan a career or even a whole life path. Now, I say this because in the old days, which really wasn't very long ago, we prepared students for a career, right? Now we know that Gen Z students are likely to have 7 different careers on average in the course of their lifetime. And so we can't prepare students for a singular career because those careers are going to evolve and change. We need to prepare students for all the careers and the twists and the turns and the pathways that they're going to have as they move forward. And life design is the way that we're approaching that. So we launched this in early 2023, reading the books, doing the online trainings, and then in 24, we sent 10 of our team to do the Stanford Life Design course and be fully trained. And we're now using the Train the Trainer model. We've built campus modules that are online, and we're using that information to train folks all over campus, including students, so that they can do peer-to-peer career counseling. Now, this training method, reaching beyond career services, is really emblematic of another innovation that we've launched in 2023. And we're really excited about this. We call it the Rebel Career Champions Network. And again, built on the notion that relationship-rich education helps students be successful. And thinking about how can we build career everywhere, not just in a singular office, we launched this network of people all over campus. Why? Because we know that faculty, both academic and administrative faculty, are the most influential factor in a student's academic journey and their career journey. 91% of students report that they go to faculty about their career planning and decisions, right? So if those faculty don't know life design and don't have access to all the resources that we offer, then there's a gap in service. So to fill that gap, we created this Rebel Career Champions Network. We started the network and we had 50 champions in early 2024. In fall of 25, we were up to 100 champions, and I'm proud to tell you that as of today, we are over 145 Rebel Career Champions that are part of this network. Now, these are faculty who raise their hand and say, I want to be involved. And it's not enough to say, I'm in. They then go through training. So we have online training modules to get them up to speed. And this allows us to activate the relationships that students have wherever they have them, all over campus in administrative and academic units, to bolster their professional development and get support for their career planning. We are now moving to a peer-to-peer student group within the network so that students are also being trained to train their peers and support one another. And this is how we're scaling career services from a singular office to a campus-wide initiative. Now, the good news is that all of this seems to be working. We have seen our career advising appointments grow significantly in the last year alone. Student attendance at our career fairs have jumped significantly. You can see in 21-22, we were at just over 1,100 students. We're almost at 5,500 students, this in 24 to 25, and those numbers continue to grow. And so the word is getting out to use the career services that are available. Now, it's not enough, I think, to have an office and drive students there or to have this network of people with resources. Students need other things around campus. So we are going beyond one-on-one career coaching and beyond sort of these Rebel Career Champion Network sort of meetings with students, and we're doing other kinds of things. So for example, a lot of our students don't have headshots. And you say, why do they need headshots? Because most applications now are digital, they're online, and students need a good LinkedIn profile. But if you don't have a good photo on your LinkedIn, you don't seem professional, right? It's hard to compete. And so we have now, we're launching an Iris Air booth. It seems simple, but it's a free place where students can come, have easy access to get their headshots and set up their LinkedIn page and start their professional journey. We also have partnered with My Career Closet for students who don't have appropriate clothes for interviews. It's a fantastic program where they can order online and pick their size and their clothes. And we're facilitating that for students who have those needs. We're doing satellite pop-ups of career service events and services all over campus, again, to meet students where they are. And we're bringing employers to campus at a higher rate than ever before, including really high-profile employers like Google, who has now made UNLV an annual stop on their national recruitment tour. We're really very proud of that. Of course, at the same time, we have to continue to do the traditional sort of work of career services, and that includes high-impact practices. And we know that one of the classic and most important high-impact practices are internships. So we're working very hard to give students hands-on experiences because we know these are game changers for student success as well as career success. It's also what employers are looking for. They want students who have been outside the classroom and had some real-world experience. So I'm happy to tell you that we use Handshake as our platform for connecting students and employers. We had 20,000 internship opportunities, which is not too shabby in 2022. We're up to 30,000 now in 2025. So employers are coming and they're trying to connect with our students online through Handshake, as well as many other paths forward. Tracking internships can be a little bit challenging. If you have questions, I can answer them. I'm not going to bore you with those details, but I will tell you that at least 37% of our students are currently, doing an internship before graduation. We believe that that number is actually more like 50% of our students. Of those who do internships, 86% report that it improved their prospects for employment and that they learned a lot from it. And what's really important is that 65% of the students who do internships get credit for that work, right? So they're not out there doing it as an addition, they're doing it embedded in and part of their academic program and earning their degree. 50% of our current interns are paid. We're both pleased and unpleased with that, to be honest. We're happy that it's hit 50%, but our goal is really to get that up to 90% or higher, right? We really believe that our students should be paid for their experiences and their contributions. That also ensures that we're leveling the playing field and making internships accessible to students who maybe can't do it if it's not paid. The last thing I'll note about this is that 87% of our students complete their internships in and around Las Vegas. About 12% or 13% are outside of Vegas, and now internships come in lots of forms. They're sometimes micro internships, short stints, sometimes they're a semester or a year, sometimes they are even online. So we're innovating what internships look like, we're preparing students for success, and we're partnering with really terrific companies to help our students get this experience, and in doing so, to create workforce pipelines to employers who need great employees. And I will say, we give equal attention to entrepreneurial startups and small businesses and nonprofit and government outlets, as well as big national and international corporations. Now, I know y'all have probably heard about this thing called AI. It's changing everything, so I had to note that, of course, AI is a real unknown, but we know that it's already replacing jobs. And most importantly, early studies are showing that the kinds of jobs that are being replaced are those that are sort of entry-level employment. So for our students coming out with new degrees, this is a potential challenge. Now, Do we fully understand what this means? No. Do we have all the answers yet? Not yet. But are we grappling with it? Yes. We are very engaged because we know that I think the only real response to AI for our students and ensuring that they have employability and career success that generates their own social mobility and social mobility for their family and economic development for the state is to focus on human-specific skills that AI can't easily replace. Right? So what are those skills that can't be easily co-opted? Well, those skills are now known as durable skills. And you may know them as soft skills, right? You've probably heard that term. Soft skills used to be sort of semi-dismissed as, oh, these extra things. You can communicate, you can interact with other human beings in a pleasant way. But that's really pivoted and become fundamental in the AI era. So in 2021, 64% of job postings required at least one durable skill. By 24, that jumps to 76%, and with 50% of employers requiring 3 or more durable skills of their applicants, right? And so there was a study done called Durable by Design. It's a great resource. I encourage you to take a look. The person who wrote that is Tim Taylor. He's the co-founder and president of America Succeeds. We had the great good fortune of having Tim Taylor as our keynote speaker at our annual summer event. We call it the Southern Nevada Leadership Forum. It's a day-long event here at UNLV. We're in our 4th year, and we invite C-suite leaders from all different sectors and HR professionals and workforce development experts to come and meet with us, the UNLV teams, to discuss current trends. What do workers need? What are employers looking for in our students? What are we doing right? What are we missing? And every year we get a list of things that they want us to do. And the next year we come back and we report out on what we've done on that list, what we still have to do, and we ask what they want us to do next. And durable skills is the #1 skill that we hear about. Now, durable skills, the report looked at 76 million job postings in 2023 and 2024. And what they found is that there are key critical durable skills that if students have these, they are not only successful or more successful when they enter the labor force, but it prepares them to pivot and adapt as the nature of work changes due to AI, changes in the economy, et cetera. And so at UNLV, we have identified the top 12 durable skills that are most requested, and we are scaffolding them into both our curriculum and our extracurricular and co-curricular activities on campus. And so one example of that, you heard from President Heavey, are micro-credentials. So we are now offering approximately 27 credit-bearing micro-credentials, with 32 more coming online this spring. And these micro-credentials are somewhere between 5 and 12 credits each. They are stackable into certificates and they're usable towards your credential or your degree. So these are not extra work. These don't cost students extra money. And in fact, students, when they complete them, don't even have to submit a form or paperwork. We automatically confer the micro-credential, both on their transcript and as a digital badge that is portable and they can take with them to their LinkedIn page, to their electronic resume, et cetera. We also offer 25, and that number continues to increase, non-credit bearing. So these are outside of the classroom. These are totally free to students. Most of them are asynchronous. That allows students to do the work at their own pace, in their own free time, and to earn these non-credit free credentials. At the end, they earn badges as well as a transcript note. And the badges are transferable, as I mentioned, across digital websites, resumes, et cetera. So the question is it working? And I would say, I think so. It takes time to track and to see the difference. But I will say we are very proud that our first destination survey, which is a survey of graduating seniors, shows that our median salary coming out of UNLV last year was $60,000. That's higher than it was in the past. And we have 82% of our students, again, higher than it had been previously, reporting a positive career outcome. So that can be getting into graduate school, getting a job in their career area, et cetera. So, we will track this as we go forward, but in terms of engagement numbers, job placement, and salaries, everything is trending up. The last thing I'll say is that learning doesn't stop when you earn your first credential, or your second, or your third credential, right? And so workforce alignment isn't just for students earning their first degree. So we have lifelong learning. Lifelong learning is formerly known as our Division of Educational Outreach. And the idea is that we are creating an entire learning ecosystem that's available not just to our students, but the entire community to provide both credit-bearing and non-credit-bearing, workforce-aligned upskilling and reskilling to anyone at any stage of their life or their career. And so at UNLV, learning and career development start on day one for our new rebels, but it doesn't end until they choose to tap out, and everyone is always welcome back. One of the things I didn't notice that I think you might be pleased with is that we always say that our graduates are rebels for life, and we really mean it. All of our alumni are absolutely welcome to use all of the career services I've talked about today completely free, because we want to support our students while they're at UNLV and beyond. So thank you so much for your time and your interest, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Are there any regents with questions? Vice Chair Goodman?
Sorry about that. Thank you for the presentation. It's wonderful. And our laugh was about something at lunch. Okay, it was not your presentation. Anyway, I just wanted to ask you, when you talk about these students having 7 different careers, you know, isn't that difficult to maintain a decent salary when you're trying something new, or are they building on their previous career to jump into something else? Is that how it works? Because it doesn't seem very viable to me if it's popping to 7 different spaces. So I just
Yeah,
wanted
great
to know.
question. I mean, I think we're going to have to wait and see empirically what happens. So these are sort of early indicators and early predictors. But I think the answer is people are building, right? You build on, and we live in an economy that's highly flexible, that has a lot of opportunities for self-employment, for entrepreneurship. And when we talk to our students, we hear now more than we ever have been before that they want to be self-employed, that they all have their side hustle, and they hope their side hustle becomes their full-time job, right? Now, not all of them want to be influencers online, some of them do, but there are definitely other pathways like that. And so, you know, to answer the question, I think it's a combination of building on your career and understanding that the nature of work is changing. So as you move what used to be up a sort of singular ladder with a singular company, now we know people don't stay in the same company for very long. People move. And as they move, they tend to make both upward and lateral moves into slightly different jobs where they have different opportunities. And having access to things like lifelong learning give you that upskilling and reskilling to stay fresh, right? To learn that next technology, to learn how to do your ChatGPT prompts strategically and take that next job. So I think we're going to have to wait and see how it plays out, but I think it's going to be an interesting pathway for our Gen Z students.
Thank you. This old horse doesn't really understand it, but I can appreciate it. It's very cool. Thank
It's a
you.
scary space, I'll tell you.
It's interesting.
We're trying.
Regent O'Carlo?
Thank you. This is a great presentation, and I have attended your that annual meeting. I can't always, but it's really good. But who was the author you cited and the book you?
Tim Taylor.
Tim?
Here, The Durable by Design.
Durable by Design. I didn't see the name there.
Yeah.
It's Tim?
Hold on, I just spaced his last
Thank
name. It's Tim, not embarrassing at all, Taylor, I was right.
Taylor,
yes.
okay.
I doubted myself. Tim
Thank
Taylor.
you. This is great.
Yep.
Great work.
Durable by Design. You can find it online.
Well, thank you very much for the presentation. We appreciate it.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
And with that, we'll move on to agenda item number 12. And I would ask Daniel Donato to please come on up and share with us your information regarding the MGM College Opportunity Program. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon, Chair Brooks, Vice Chair Goodman, members of the board. My name is Natalie Brown, Assistant Vice Chancellor for Workforce Development and Community Colleges, and I'm here to introduce you to Danielle Donato, who has been with the MGM COP program since the beginning. She is our main NSHE system administration point of contact for both our institutions as well as MGM, and has done a phenomenal job with the program. And with that, I will turn over to Danielle.
Thank you, Natalie. Hi, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, Board of Regents, college and university presidents, and the Nevada community. I am so excited to present an update on the MGM College Opportunity Program. I want to thank Regent Del Carlo for bringing this up to the agenda because it's a program that we are so proud of, not only for the students that we are proud of, but also our partnership with MGM Resorts International. So, and I know we have some new regents here, so you probably haven't heard about the College Opportunity Program or maybe heard a few things. So I'm really excited to provide some more details for you guys. Okay, so just to give a little bit of background, the MGM College Opportunity Program is a partnership between MGM Resorts International and the Nevada System of Higher Education to provide eligible employees the opportunity to enroll in designated online degree programs. So the programs available ranges from Certificate of Achievement programs all the way up to a master's degree program. Doctoral programs are not covered under the COP. Now this program was administered from an MOU back in 2018, and I'm still here, so I'm very grateful that the program is still in existence and that we're successful. Now the first MGM COP cohort started back in 2019 with 252 participants across all NSHE institutions. So what MGM covers is the registration and tuition fees up to 3 courses per semester, as well as required textbooks, proctoring exam fees, and graduation fees. So the only cost to the employee is the application fee. So part of the MOU was a single point of contact for the COP, which is me, and I wanted to talk a little bit about my role in the program since I've been doing it for almost 7 years now. So a big part of my responsibility is recruitment and also advisement of undecided COP students. So I do get a lot of employees that reach out to me, not sure what direction that they want to go to, and I work with those students directly to pick degree programs that are based on their academic and career goals, which has been very rewarding to see them progress through our system. I also, when Nate McKinnon was here when the program started, we kind of brainstormed and put together an MGM COP online decision guide, which I'm so excited to talk about in the next few slides. And I'm also responsible in coordinating and implementing the virtual information sessions. Because the COP is a 100% online degree program, we don't do in-person recruitment, and that is per MGM. They want to keep it online to give equal opportunity not only to the in-state employees, but also we have out-of-state employees that participate in this program. So I conduct 15 virtual information sessions per academic year, including summer, with the assistance of all the institutions that participate in this program, and we average about 15 to 20 MGM employees that attend each session. And I also serve as a resource and advocate for the program, so I wear many hats. If anyone has a question about the COP, it goes directly to me. So talking about the NSHE decision guide, there's a QR code if anyone's interested in exploring the decision guide. We went through a revamp, and I can't take credit for the decision guide solely. Bentley, who is our web developer, helped me so much in putting this together, and we just updated it this past year to make it more user-friendly for the MGM COP students. So this guide allows the employees to navigate the different type of degree programs that are offered under the COP, and Bentley has made it user-friendly for them to access, whether it's on their cell phone, their laptop, or wherever they are, sorry. So, and this is also, I would say this is like the major hub for our program because you can find out so many different information. You can look at the different types of degrees that we offer under the COP, and this is where I communicate with the undecided employees. So they complete a Help Me Decide form if they're undecided as to which degree to pursue, and they fill out the form and giving me a little bit more information of where they are. Did they complete a bachelor's degree? Are they interested in certain academic areas of interest? Why are they pursuing this? Or do they want to be promoted? Do they want to move departments? So this has been an extremely useful tool for me to assist the employees. So we're really, really, really proud of this decision guide. Moving forward, I'm going to talk a little bit about the participant enrollment. So I've always talked about it year after year. We started with 252 employees with the first cohort, and then it dropped down, and that was due to COVID. MGM was going through so many layoffs, restructuring. I mean, it was just so much going on. And then we managed to remain steady since fall 2021. And obviously, we do want to increase enrollment. That's always been a goal of mine. But there are factors that are uncontrollable and that we can't, we obviously can't control. So factors including MGM doing more layoffs or restructuring their company, tourism has been down. This all affects the enrollment for the program. But like I said, we've managed to remain steady since fall 2021. Now, talking about participant race, ethnicity, and gender, what I do want to mention is, and this is based on this last academic year, the largest percentage of COP participants identified as Hispanic, followed by white, and 63% of the MGM COP students identified as female. So just to kind of give you an idea of our demographics with the program. In terms of types of degrees pursued, and again, this is based on the last academic year, 68 participants pursued an undergraduate degree program, and the most prevalent degree pursued was an associate's degree. I do also want to mention, which is not on the slides, the most popular program areas amongst the MGM COP students are hospitality is number 1, business is number 2, and then third is humanities and arts. So we do see a lot of employees kind of going out of the hospitality realm and pursuing either criminal justice, communication studies in those areas. In terms of our MGM COP graduates, we've already conferred 168 graduates across all our NSHE institutions. We are super proud of our graduates. I always get comments that without the COP, they would have never been able to pursue their degree without their employer. So we're super happy again with this partnership. And we're anticipating 15 more graduates this fall. So like I said, every semester we have graduates and they are really appreciative of the program. And like I said, that's what we're here for. I just love talking to the employees and seeing where they go with their degrees. And as you can see from the chart, UNLV has the most graduates, followed by CSN and then Great Basin College. Now, this is the MGM COP revenue report. It's increased as we've gone through the years, and I believe that's because we've increased the fees. And I've noticed in the last maybe 2 years, we have more MGM employees pursuing graduate programs. That might be the reason why the cost has increased. But I do want to mention that per the contract of the COP is that all eligible employees have to apply for the FAFSA. Whether or not they're eligible, that is part of our contract. So that's why we've awarded over $800,000 across these last 6-7 years of financial aid. If the employee is not eligible for financial aid, MGM still covers the bill 100%, but we allow scholarships and grants applied to their tuition first, and then MGM will cover the rest of the bill. Sorry. Now, in terms of accomplishments and future goals, back in 2022, one of my goals was to increase online degree offerings. I wanted to listen to the employees and see what they were interested in pursuing. What did they want to see offered under the COP? Now, I couldn't do this alone. This is with the help of the institutions. Back in 2022, we offered 113 online degree programs. Now we offer 155 online degree programs, and it's just been so beneficial. We increased the programs by 42 online degree programs. So some of the programs that are most common are Great Basin College Certificate of Achievement in Data Analytics, TMCC Bachelor of Applied Business Management, UNLV's MBA program is now online, and then UNR has a new Bachelor of Science in General Business offered online, and the Master of Arts in Strategic Public Relations and Advertising. And in terms of my future goals, like I said in the beginning of the presentation, it's always going to be increase enrollment and provide higher education to these employees, and hopefully in the near future onboard additional community and industry partnerships. Before I pass it along to my colleague, from the UNLV Public Policy Institute. I just want to thank everyone who's been part of the project, especially my MGM points of contact. I really couldn't do this without you. My IT contacts, Michelle and Bentley from SES, as well as our contact at MGM, Brandon Perry. I don't know if you're listening, but thank you so much. You've made my job easier, and we're really excited to move forward with the COP. Thank you.
So you just press that. Perfect. Thank you, Danielle. Appreciate it. Board of Regents, University Presidents, I'm Rob Ulmer, Dean of the Greenspun College of Urban Affairs. It's great to see everybody today. We in the MGM International, Resorts International Public Policy Institute did a program evaluation of the College Opportunity Program. And we've done this a few years in a row. The latest iteration, I think, is really interesting, particularly in light of workforce development and the durable skills that you heard Provost Corrigan talk about. And so we collected data, did a survey, and then did interviews with the students that had gone through the program. And the data is really, really positive. If you take a look at overall program quality, faculty knowledge, peer engagement, understanding of the requirements, students were very, very positive as they looked at and responded to the education that they got through the MGM College Opportunity Program. What we found really interesting, and I was saying this in light of some of the durable skills that we were talking about, in terms of professional development, you can see skill development is right on track. And if you look at Lightcast data and what employers are looking for, leadership development, communication skills, job-specific skills, people were really positive about. As they finished their degrees, regardless of what degree they were getting, they had confidence in working with others, increased satisfaction, increased engagement at work. So if you're MGM and you're looking at this kind of data, you've got to be very, very excited about students being and employees being a part of this program. And then in the area of professionalism, which we're all looking for, better understanding of the hospitality industry, networking, optimism. If you remember this program, you can take a degree in any area that you want, but students are coming back and saying, and employees are coming back and saying, this makes sense to hospitality and to my future career. So 80% of the students are saying that they really got a lot of experience and understanding about leadership, communication, and job-specific skills. And then if you look at some of the personal benefits, because we know with education and higher education, the workforce development part of that I think is really important. But as we interviewed and surveyed students, we found their personal efficacy increased greatly. So increased adaptability. And again, if you look back at Provost Corrigan's presentation, adaptability was a big one, right? Communication skills was a big one. Resilience is something that we want to see across sectors, and we're seeing that students that are going through the College Opportunity Program are seeing that increase as well. And interpersonal confidence, the ability to make new friends, engage with the community. If you take a look at this quote, I think it is absolutely amazing when you think about the impact that education has on individuals. And I know we oftentimes think about how much more money we're going to make or what kind of career advancement we're going to have. But when you see that a person who's gone through the program, that it's given that individual an opportunity to mentor their own daughter, and that she wouldn't have had this chance if it wasn't for this program. I mean, I can't imagine a better experience or a better opportunity through higher education than making a difference with other people and certainly with family members. So I thought that was something really exciting. And then thinking about kind of MGM and the impact that we're having with them, it's not surprising that their employees felt that the more interaction that they had with their supervisors about their education, the better their experience was. And so I think one of the things that they reported to us and that we'll continue to report to MGM is that having supervisor engagement around their education, having the opportunity for them to talk about what they're learning. I know we talked to one person who got an English degree, and she was talking about how much better her emails were and how much better her critical thinking around particular issues was. So I think having the opportunity to talk to your supervisor about these things makes a huge difference as well. So really an exciting time for the College Opportunity Program. I think an exciting time for higher education. When you have an organization like MGM and their employees saying the incredible value that they're getting from the NSHE institutions and from your leadership and the leadership of the presidents at this meeting, I think it's very exciting to hear the success of this program. So thank you for the opportunity to present. Happy to respond to any questions with the group from NSHE as well.
Thank you very much. What a great presentation that you provided us today, and it really does reflect on the impact of our higher education, institutions and our private partnerships that we have to really support members of the community, specifically who are looking for advancement in already the place where they're working. So great job, absolutely fantastic. Are there any regents, Vice Chair Goodman?
I just have to say, I don't know why every employee is not taking advantage of this. What an incredible opportunity. I mean, the work you're doing is wonderful, and to provide that to those employees, and it's incredible. It's just really wonderful. So thank you for this presentation, and thank you for what MGM is doing. And UNLV. It's incredible. And NSHE. Thank you.
If you don't mind, it's inspiring to hear It's inspiring to hear the employees talk. We have graduate students and faculty involved in collecting the data, and it really is inspiring to hear what a difference higher education makes in their lives. It's really incredible to see.
Regent Brown and then Regent Del Carlo.
Thank you, Regent Brown, for the record. I just want to echo, but also just put an emphasis on this is what happens when the higher ed institutions work with our employers. MGM, I think, is the largest employer in the state. This is the largest university in the state, and it's a good partnership, but moreover, all of your employees, especially the ones that have been there for so many years, can take advantage of our new credit for prior learning initiatives, right? I know that you guys had mentioned, Hospitality 101 maybe didn't feel like an appropriate place for some of your employees to have to sit through, and now they can test out of those things. And so I think the system, the institutions are showing up for you and your program, but also you're showing up for your employees, and you're making our state stronger, and you're making our system matter more for an industry that hasn't typically put an emphasis on higher ed. And I think that's really cool. I grew up here. I have so many first cousins that went straight into the Strip, and I was the first person to go to school. And so now they can all go back after spending 25 years at one of your properties. They can go back and get degrees and do more stuff. And so I just think it's really awesome. And I just want to say thank you. But also, this is a really good example of how our system can mirror the foundation that you built with UNLV and work it across our system. So,
thank you, Chair Brooks, Regent Del Carlo, for the record, and I appreciate you putting this on the agenda. There are a lot of new regions, and I think this is just a transformative program, and I thought it was terrific when we did it in 2018 with MGM. It just showed such a commitment to their employees, and what I was really interested reinforcing this is that it doesn't have to be in their field of study or their job and what they're doing, because education just enhances you as a person. So, and I really appreciate, Danielle, that you've been with us from day one. I think that's so important because of the relationships you've been able to make with all the partners in this at the MGM, and I'm really hoping this can be a model, because there's other large employers in this state. I don't remember if we came to MGM or I think MGM came to us. Am I correct on that one? Does anybody remember? Maybe.
Let me see. Danielle Donato for the record. This, I know former Chancellor Tom Riley and Jim Moran had a conversation.
Okay.
So I think it was both of them came to an agreement to offer this.
Okay.
So without them, this wouldn't have happened. So very appreciative of them to start that conversation.
Okay, and I'd like to look, maybe we can look at the other top, say, 5 employers in the state of Nevada and maybe pursue something. I mean, they make the commitment because they're paying for it, but we are giving it reduced tuition. I think the biggest reduction is 20%, which is 20% is 20%. And I do like the fact that you have to apply for Pell first. You should. But if you don't qualify for Pell, then of course MGM is picking it all up. And the other things, the only thing the student has to pay for is the application. I think that was the only thing. I mean, that is tremendous. And I'm with you, Regent Goodman. Why wouldn't anybody working there, just lifelong learning? That's why we're here, right? So really great job, and keep it up. Thank you.
Regent Carvalho.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I do want to say the same thing, that this is a tremendous program, and I'm in full support of it. And I think with what we keep hearing on the horizon with enrollment declines from our traditional sources from high school, we need to do more of this sort of programming and partnerships. I know that a lot of large employers nationally have partnerships with other higher ed organizations, but I think that it's very important to be involved with the public higher education, especially within our state. And so I would also echo that we need to see where we can continue these partnerships with other employers. And I would say, yes, let's go after the top employers, but even the smaller employers too. I think that this should be a charge for our system staff to try to expand this, because I do think that this is important, not only for those people who didn't think they would be students and now have that opportunity, but also as a system, we need to find innovative ways to meet those students and to continue to attract people to our institutions. So thank you.
Regent Arascata.
And to follow up what Regent Carvalho just mentioned, is additional students and opportunities for other students. Besides MGM, which is doing a great job, what other can or will other companies be available or have an option to join this program? Other companies, big companies here in Las Vegas, because MGM is obviously setting the bar. Would you all be welcoming to other companies of the South or North?
Thank you for that question. Natalie Brown, Assistant Vice Chancellor for the record. It is something that we are definitely interested in. We're open to engaging with other employers. We've spoken to a few, and I think they're shocked to see how much MGM is really putting into this. And so, will it look exactly the same? I don't know, but we're willing to have those conversations and see where we can grow these programs, because it does make such a difference.
MGM is setting the bar.
Yes,
It'd be
they
wonderful to
definitely
see if some of the other companies could rise above.
Oh,
Nice
agreed.
little friendly competition.
I don't know if there's any other questions. What I do want to add is that the accolades that we're able to provide for the program really begins with the work that you're doing. And so Natalie Brown, I know that there's a lot of things that you do specifically for workforce, and it would be remiss if we didn't say, thank you for all that you do, because these programs are possible because of the work that you and Danielle and others do. So thank you very much for everything that you contribute to this. Sir, I know that you had stepped up. Is there anything that you'd like to?
No, I'm okay. I'm Lee Burnick, for the record. I'm just one of the people who did the research and have been here since 2018 when we started it. I did the first evaluation of the program.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for being here.
Rob Ulmer, for the record. So one of the things I think is special about this is we do a program evaluation led by Dr. Burnick, and so that we can demonstrate what's working, what's not working, how to improve. We can demonstrate to other places the tremendous advantage that higher education provides to people's lives. And I think that's something that we're really grateful for. And our goal is to follow these students and employees long term, to see what happens over the course of their tenure and their careers, the transformation that takes place due to higher education in our state. And I think we're going to see tremendous results.
Well, again, thank you very much. At a time where we're trying to communicate the value of higher education, it would be great if we could bottle up some of the things that you've just said and then just spread it across the state. So again, thank you very much for your time and your presentation today. And with that, we'll move on to agenda item number 13. And I will ask for let's see, President Hevey, are you introducing agenda item number 13?
Chair Brooks, Chris Evie for the record. I'm wondering if we could take another agenda item first. We're waiting for our Clark County partner to arrive. We're running about a half hour early and we didn't get her here early enough.
Yeah, it's okay. Absolutely, President Hevey. Vice Chair Goodman, I know that we're going to possibly move on to agenda item number 14 is, I think what we're going to do is move on to agenda item number 15. And with that, I will call on Regent Downs to read a disclaimer.
Thank you, Chair. Pursuant to NRS Chapter 281A.420, hereby disclose I am a parent of a student at UNR. Because the independence of judgment of a reasonable person would not be materially affected by this situation, I will vote on this matter.
Thank you. Vice Chair Goodman, you have a disclosure?
I do. I didn't get all the fancy language, but I too have a child at, well, not a child. I have a young man at UNR, so I just want to disclose that. Thank you.
Thank you. President Sandoval?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, Madam Vice Chair, members of the board. For the record, Brian Sandoval, President of the University of Nevada in Reno. I'm pleased to bring forward the university's request for approval of a special power of attorney, an irrevocable limited power of attorney, and an assignment and assumption agreement related to the transfer of land coverage from Sierra Nevada College, a Nevada nonprofit corporation. Now, as you will recall, pursuant to the 2021 Memorandum of Agreement between Sierra Nevada College, the Board of Regents, acting on behalf of the University of Nevada, Reno, and the University of Nevada, Reno Foundation, and approved by this board on July 23, 2021, the university agreed to assume all educational instruction of Sierra Nevada College students, while SNC agreed to transfer its transferable assets to the University Foundation. The MOA further requires all parties to cooperate in preparing and executing additional agreements needed to complete the overall transaction. SNC now seeks to fulfill another element of that commitment. Sierra Nevada College has approximately 275,000 square feet of impervious land coverage rights with a value of approximately $1.2 million. These land coverage rights, valuable real property development rights under the Tahoe Regional Planning Agency's regulatory framework, are severable from real property and essential in determining how land may be developed or modified within the Tahoe Basin. SNC wishes to assign all rights, title, and interest in that land coverage to the university at no cost. And again, I'd love to emphasize no cost. As you may recall, the board previously approved similar land coverage assignments from SNC to the university in June of 2024. Now you may ask, what will accepting these rights do? It will preserve a significant existing asset for the Nevada system of higher education and the university. It will enable the university to manage coverage in ways that support environmental compliance, responsible land use planning, and potential future academic or research priorities, and streamline stewardship by aligning the asset with the university's operational decision-making. We appreciate your favorable consideration of this agenda item. I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, President Sandoval. Are there any regents who have questions specific to this agenda item? Regent Downs?
Thank you, Chair Brooks. So with these rights, is there a timeline that they have to be used, or can they be stored indefinitely, and is there a cost associated with keeping them and maintaining them?
Mr. Chair, to you and through you to Regent Downs, the answer is no. There is no time limit on them. We can retain them essentially in perpetuity, and there is no cost to retaining those. I mean, the hope is obviously that someday that we'll be able to do more development on that campus, and those land coverage, that land coverage asset is absolutely integral in being able to do so.
Thank you.
We'll go with Regent Brown, Regent Gokachia, then Regent Del Carlo.
Yeah. I'd like to move to approve the transfer of land coverage from Sierra Nevada College to UNR.
Is there a,
I'll second that, Regent Del Carlo.
great, so we have a motion by Regent Brown to approve the land coverage from Sierra Nevada College, a second from Regent Del Carlo. Is there any more discussion?
I just had a question. 275,000 square feet? Is that, I mean, that's where the campus is now, this property, right? And is that a specific place on the property, or I was a little bit confused?
Mr. Chair, to and through you to Regent Del Carlo, it is for the campus. That's not, obviously 275,000 square feet is not the entire
Right.
campus, but it goes with the property. As you know, it's somewhat of an abstract concept because you can only develop on so much property at the Lake Tahoe Basin, as
I
you
know
know,
that
being
one
a
well.
resident up there. But again, if we ever seek to, for example, build a residence hall, a performing arts center, anything that would cover the property, we have to have that land coverage to go with it.
This will help to get that.
Oh, it'll solve.
Solve it. Okay,
Yes.
I get it. I get it. I'm remodeled, I get it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Regent Gokachia?
I think I'm right, just putting it in perspective, it's almost 8 acres. So if you're gonna move in there and develop something,
Okay.
that would be 8 acres you could develop and have it covered without a penalty, right?
That's what I was trying to conceive of, how much
Yeah.
space that was. Thank you.
And Mr. Chair, to you and through you to Regent Gokachia, I gave a thumbs up, but for the record, I just want to say yes. So
Thank you. Thank you for the clarification for the record, President Sandoval. Is there any more discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye or yes.
Aye.
Those who oppose, please signify by saying no or nay. Thank you very much, President Sandoval.
Thank you,
With that,
Mr.
that
Chair.
passes. We'll move on to agenda item number 16, and I'll call on Vice Chancellor for Academic and Student Affairs, Daniel Archer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Daniel Archer for the record. This item, just as a reminder, is a follow-up to the conversation we had back in September about faculty evaluations. Over the last several months, many of you have raised thoughtful questions about faculty evaluations and how they sort of operate throughout the system, and whether expectations are clearly understood, and whether we have the right sort of balance of consistency from campus to campus. To move this work forward, we are putting together a system-wide working group. The goal, I want to emphasize, is not to create a one-size-fits-all model. It leaves no room for flexibility. Instead, we want to take a thoughtful look at where some alignment might help, while still recognizing that our institutions have different missions, functions, and goals. The group will really focus on 3 core areas here. First, we're going to look at administrative frameworks that are used in the evaluation processes. Campuses currently handle annual evaluations differently here. At some institutions, the department chair conducts the review and issues the rating. When we talk about the rating, we're talking about rating a faculty member is excellent, commendable, satisfactory, or unsatisfactory. The rating that the chair issues is where the process ends here. So there's no further level of review in this particular example here. It really starts and ends with the chair. At another institution, though, the chair conducts the review and issues the rating, but a dean who serves in a higher administrative capacity can actually override that rating. So that override is not frequently utilized, but simply having that option gives an institution a different sort of mechanism compared to campuses where the chair's rating is final here. So when you look at this through a system lens, I think the natural question then becomes, would having a more common process help promote fairness and consistency across our institutions here? Some systems, when you look around the country, have gone more in this direction. And the group that we're putting together will provide feedback on whether that type of approach makes sense for NSHE. Second, we're going to look at the scope and focus of evaluations here. We'll look at whether having a small number of core evaluation criteria could improve clarity and alignment system-wide. Having a small number of core areas in every evaluation could help anchor more consistency and fairness while still giving campuses, again, the room to tailor criteria to meet their respective missions and needs here. So the goal, again, is to really kind of find that sweet spot here. We want to align the pieces where it does add value and still leave campuses the space to make decisions that are rooted in their respective missions here. And thirdly, we are going to look at professional expectations and workplace culture. We'll look at how we can reinforce professionalism, collegiality, and respect across all campuses. I think this allows us to step back and look across NSHE and really look at the full system while also considering some of the national trends and the HR space that are really being shaped right now. And you really look in the last 5 to 7 years, many higher education systems and institutions have adopted statements or policies on civility and professional conduct to strengthen workplace culture here. And the group will explore whether a similar approach would be beneficial to NSHE. So in terms of timing, we are looking to bring recommendations to you in spring of '26. And I know there was some feedback on the group construct. I think we're amendable to adding there. So with that, I stand for questions.
Thank you. Are there regents with questions? Regent Carvalho?
Thank you. Just a clarifying question. So the intention is to bring this back to the board for some policy revisions?
That's correct.
Thank you. Thank you.
Listen, I appreciate that. And certainly, this is a pretty big undertaking, so I appreciate the motivation and speed in which you're trying to get this done. And when you said spring of '26, more precisely, I think it'll be the meeting in March, right, of '26. Is that what you're looking at?
Well, I guess it depends. It could be if we have a special meeting later on, or it could be as late as June.
Yeah, I overheard that it's still spring, somebody had said. Yeah,
right, technically, right. Early June, right?
That's correct. I think and I'm not sure, but I thought this process was going to move so that it does come back in March, but maybe it's the month after that.
Yeah, as we unpack this, it was a little bit more than we initially thought. I think that's part of it. I think the other part is we are going to be onboarding a senior HR person at the system office that's going to help with that as well. So looking at it kind of through both an academic and an HR lens, but we'll try to move expeditiously as possible.
Yeah, thank you. I think not only would we appreciate that as a board, but I'm positive that institutions would appreciate that as well, so that things can move a little bit more effectively for them and particularly based on some of the cultural changes that have got to take place. And that's going to be rooted in either policy for the institution or board policy that we'll be able to affect. Are there any other questions or comments? Thank you very much. We appreciate your time. Thank you. Thank you. We'll now move on to agenda item number 14. This is the Nevada Student Gambling Study. And I'd like to call on Vice Chair Goodman to introduce this agenda item.
Thank you so much, Chair. This is an issue that's near and dear to my heart. This is the work that I do in my paying job. And I think it's really wonderful that Andy did this study. She's with the International Gaming Institute, and it really speaks to what's happening with gambling and our students here on all of our campuses. I think it's going to be some really great information, and I appreciate you both being here and presenting this to the board for everyone to hear. It's vitally important, and I'll just add, when you look at prediction markets, when you look at online gaming, when you look at sports betting on your phone, gambling is really on the precipice of becoming an epidemic with our youth, and I think it's very important for us to take a look and just be aware. And so here's Andy Desopoulos to make her presentation.
Hi, thank you for having us. Is this a clicker? Okay. Okay, so I'm Andy Desopoulos, and I manage the Nevada Problem Gambling Project here at the International Gaming Institute at UNLV. And it's a statewide initiative to provide research-informed recommendations to the state around issues related to gambling harm. So we just want to strengthen the policies and programming around the state around things like treatment, prevention, research, workforce development. And one of our core responsibilities is to understand how gambling affects different communities in Nevada. So this is actually our first system-wide look at gambling among college students. So I'm really excited to share this with everyone. I'm joined by Dante Miller. He's our graduate student lead. Today we'll walk you through what we learned about how gambling is showing up in the lives of NSHE students and what that means for their well-being. So before we get into the numbers, I want to talk a little bit about what is gambling, why this matters. So we define gambling as risking something of value for an uncertain outcome. In Nevada, gambling is part of our daily life. Students see slot machines in everyday spaces. They have 24/7 access to sports betting apps. And many work in casinos or in hospitality, or they have friends and family that work in the industry. So even if a student doesn't gamble, they still have a relationship with gambling simply by living in the state. And young adults are particularly vulnerable to gambling harms. They are still developing the parts of their brain that are responsible for judgment and impulse control. They tend to take more risks, and they're being heavily targeted by digital marketing. And as students, many have compounded risks such as juggling financial stress or social or academic pressures. So in some statewide surveys that we've done, we also see that non-college students within this age range are developing gambling problems at almost 5 times the rate of people who are middle-aged. So there has been growing concern about the rise of sports betting among college-age students. The NCAA and several university systems have raised alarms about increased betting and financial harm in students. And multiple studies this year have shown that college students are betting a lot, and a lot more than we expected them to. So in this context, our survey is asking important questions for NSHE. How do students understand gambling? How often are they participating, and in what forms? And how many are showing early signs of harm? And do they know what to do if they do experience harm? So with that context, I'll turn it over to Dante, who will walk us through the survey.
All right. Good afternoon. So we conducted this survey last spring among about 100,000 NSHE students. We sent out an email to every student enrolled in at least one credit hour in spring 2025, like I said, last spring. So 4,615 students responded, which is about a 5% response rate, which is really good for a survey, especially one that ran the length of time that we did. Now, when we include responses that were at least 75% complete, that we ended up with 4,349 responses. Each NSHE institution was represented in our sample, and we gave students $1,500, the first 1,500 students $10 Amazon gift cards, and boy, did they make sure that they got those gift cards because they ran out within the first hour of the survey being open. First hour. We asked questions about gambling behaviors, risk, attitudes about gambling, and even asked what students thought gambling was. So we have a wide array of students who did respond to the survey. The pieces that I would like to highlight is that 58% of them were eligible for Pell Grant, and 68% of them were first-generation students. So these are students who had not done college before, or anyone in their family, or no one in their immediate family had done it before, and people who are from financially disadvantaged backgrounds. Additionally, most of them had lived in Nevada their entire lives, and 59% of them fell within that traditional student age range of 18 to 29. So we're looking at a relatively young population who took the survey, who had lived in Nevada most of their lives. So when looking at what students understood as gambling, I break this section into 2 parts. So first, things that actually had betting inside of the name. So this is like betting in online prediction markets and buying lottery tickets. We see 15 to 16% of students say that these are not gambling, even though buying a lottery ticket is a traditional form of gambling that we begin to understand. And betting in online prediction markets literally has betting inside of the name, and those students still said that this was not a form of gambling. But then in the second part, when we're looking at some of these newer forms of gambling, so prediction markets is a newer form, but we're talking cryptocurrencies, fantasy leagues with entry fees, and buying loot boxes inside of video games. So this is when you're in a game and you make like a 99-cent purchase or something for maybe you'll get a certain piece of armor or a certain weapon or something, but you don't necessarily know what it is. We see between 45 and 60% of students participate in this type of gambling. I mean, not participate in, but say that this is not a form of gambling. This breaks down in a multitude of ways. First, students not recognizing these newer digital forms as gambling means that it's something that can happen passively. They can be sitting in the back of a classroom and, like trading cryptocurrency or buying a loot box in a game. So gambling, like right from their phone or from any electronic device and not knowing that they're doing it. This means that if they have a problem with one of these newer forms of gambling, they won't know to ask for help because they don't consider those things gambling. Even when we continue further, sports betting, advertisements everywhere, all the rage now, and becoming legal in many states, we see that about 8% of students have participated with most often in the past 12 months, but they're also doing a wide array of types of gambling. Mostly, so 23% are inside of this like electronic gambling machines. This is going to your 7-Eleven, inside of a bar, or even going inside of a casino to place a bet. But we also see students doing things like I said, in-app purchases. We have about 20% of them doing that. And 14% of students buying lottery tickets, which you can't even do in Nevada, which means that they're leaving the state to engage in these forms of gambling. And this is 3 in 4 students who are doing this, mind you, which is actually about 7% higher than all adults in Nevada. So students are gambling at a higher rate. Additionally, 35% of students engage in one type of gambling, and these are among the ones who gamble, so not including ones who said that they never gamble, and 38% engage in 3 or more different types of gambling. And what we find is that the more types of gambling that you do, the higher of a chance that you actually might develop risk later. And a bit of a tidbit, there are 351 different combinations of gambling that students engage in. So this is online prediction markets and fantasy sports and animal races, or online prediction markets, table games, and electronic gambling machines. There are so many different variations that students actually end up doing. Now I'll turn it back over to Andy so that we can look at how we actually measured that risk and impact.
Thank you, Dante. So when we talk about, we're measuring risk and harm using the brief biosocial gambling screen. So this is a very simple validated tool that's used widely in public health settings to identify early warning signs of gambling problems. So the BBGS consists of 3 yes or no questions, each tied to behaviors that we see happening early in the early stages of gambling harm. So whether feeling restless or irritable when trying to cut back on gambling, trying to reduce gambling but not being able to, or hiding or lying about gambling. So the purpose of a screening tool like the BBGS is early identification, not diagnosis. So a positive screen doesn't mean that a student has a gambling disorder. It means that they're showing early indicators and they might benefit from extra support, some education, or they might need further evaluation, professional help. But we should be paying attention to this, similar to how we use mental health or substance use screenings. So across the NSHE campuses, 5.6% of students screened at risk for gambling problems. So if we think about our system-wide enrollment, that's roughly 5,500 students who may be showing early signs of harm. Now, I keep saying early signs of harm because it is important that we address this early. And more advanced gambling disorder has very severe consequences for people: financial harms, family disruption, legal entanglements, and even suicide. So within that population of at-risk students, men and non-binary students, we're screening at higher rates than higher than average rates. So that gives us an important direction for targeted prevention and support. So who is at risk is one part of the story, and the second part of the story is what kind of gambling is driving that risk, and that's where sports betting comes in. So in our data, students who had a stronger interest in sports were more likely to engage in sports betting, and among students who do bet on sports, increased frequency of live betting was associated with a higher likelihood of screening at risk on the BBGS. And this is in line with what was found in the NCAA data, which said that live betting was the most harmful form of betting. And the reason is because it creates this like repeated, rapid opportunities to bet within a single game. So from our baseline data, sports betting, especially live betting, appears to be the most important area and the most vulnerable area for our students. So that gives us a sense of where the risk is concentrated among the students who gamble, but even beyond the individual behavior, gambling shows up in the broader campus environment. So a large majority of students say they know someone who has struggled with gambling in some way. Many also feel that gambling is changing how students experience college sports, which is consistent with what we've heard in other studies. A smaller but still meaningful number of students report feeling social pressure to participate in gambling, and some say that gambling, either theirs or someone else's, has affected their academics. So even though not every student gambles, many are encountering this among their friends and in the campus culture. So it's not happening in isolation. So here we see that students do agree, and they think that the university should be concerned with student gambling. So even students who don't gamble think it deserves some attention. So what can we do to support students? We've outlined several opportunities. One is through awareness and education. So integrating gambling information into the broader well-being initiatives that students are already receiving. So information about mental health, financial wellness, substance use, gambling should be right there. Another is improving visibility and outreach. So students really don't know how to access the resources that we have. We have a tremendous state system of support, of treatment, peer support, telehealth. We even on campuses, we have at UNR and at UNLV counselors who are trained in providing gambling specific treatment, but students don't necessarily know how to access these. And third is faculty and staff engagement. So even some kind of training or a brief referral pathways so that people who see harm with their students know how to guide them to the right place. And finally, we should continue this monitoring and assessment. We are thrilled that we were able to do this, but this is really just a baseline. Like in order to really measure this, we need to be doing this periodically, every couple of years, to track changes over time, to evaluate any kind of campus initiatives that we want to do, and to just stay ahead of anything emerging. So we want to build on the systems that we already have in place on campuses and across the state, and just really support students before any kind of harm escalates. And this survey gives us our first clear baseline of how gambling is showing up. And we've just really given you the highlights. There is a lot more in this survey about, students' opinions about different topics, and all that will be published on the Nevada Division of Public and Behavioral Health website. And we want to thank the DPBH for their support, and happy to answer any questions.
Well, thank you very much for that presentation. Extraordinarily informative. Thank you. Are there regents with questions? Regent Breger?
Thank you so much. I know how important this is. Is there, like around the campus, when you, I'm just going to use something that I know is odd to me, but you'd think they'd know at their ages. In the bathrooms, could there be your posters or something? I don't think if it was in there, I didn't notice it. I did notice that you should not put your hands in the toilet, which I thought you have to tell people of this age that you shouldn't do that. Sorry, that just was like, wow, that's really interesting. I think it'd be much better to have your poster instead of that. That just seemed kind of shocking to me.
I do it all the time. Yes, sir.
Are there any other comments or questions?
Oh, wait,
I'm sorry.
So in all seriousness, Are they around the campus? Because I didn't think so. So is that something we need to get permission from the presidents, or as a board, we could help institute something like that? Because you do see it at young ages. And I think the sooner, even in our high schools or our middle schools, if they were seeing something like that and it keeps getting in their brain, that it would be really important. Or there's not on any campus, is there actually, or they, I know you said there's a counselor or someone that they know that they can walk into, it's discreet. I just think it's so important that we don't just, hope it goes away, but that we do something important with it.
Yeah, but we don't have any kind of big initiatives for that, but that's definitely something that we need across our campuses.
Regent Borland?
Thank you, Chair. Just a question, I mean, it's not as interesting as putting your hands in the toilet, which I like, really. It is interesting. But if you look at it, higher education is a gamble. Did you look at that? Did you ask anybody that question, or did you analyze that? It is a gamble because of its costs, and you have no idea what the results are going to be. I know we're all in higher education right now, and they're like, shut up, Boylan, that's not a but too bad. It's a good question. Go for it. Answer it.
But education is not an uncertain outcome.
You really believe that?
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
higher education
I
is
mean,
not?
research shows that education is a benefit.
There's 100% chance that you'll be successful and you will make money. That, not
There's
according to
margins
these
in there.
guys here that I was looking at. So, but you didn't look at that as is it a gamble?
I do have a very quick follow-up to your question. So are you asking if the outcome of a job is certain or the outcome of the education is certain?
No, I said higher education, not job.
Well, yeah, of higher education. So are you
Yeah.
asking, like, do people know that they're going to get a degree, or do they know that they're going to get a job?
Because usually people do it to get a job, not just to get a degree. So they've spent all this money. It's a gamble, and they really don't know it. So we don't look at it. I mean, you, us, all of us, we don't look at higher education as a gamble. Yes, no.
We didn't ask that question.
You didn't ask. So no, we don't look at it as that. Okay. Anybody else might want to tell me, Chair, is it a gamble?
I
No?
don't,
All right. Thank you, sir.
I'm going to decline to participate in that conversation. Thank you, Regent Borland.
All right,
I
go ahead.
appreciate the invite, though.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, folks.
I thought it was really interesting that part of your, part of the percentage that you had in terms of what is or what is not gambling were day traders, right? And even if we use the term crypto traders, it seems like there are more younger people who are getting involved in day trading. And so I thought that that was interesting that some of those, based on your statistics, they didn't find that to be a gamble. And I would say that I'm not familiar with traders who don't fall into what we call revenge trading, which is where you're trading and the trading is a loss, and then you're moving quickly back into another trade to try to make up for it. And so I just found that interesting that was part of your,
Yeah, I mean, this is certainly something that is with education, right? So it's not necessarily like you should never be doing those things, but you should understand that that comes with risk, and that is actually gambling. Prediction markets, which are, blowing up right now, they don't call what they're doing betting, they call it trading. So, I mean, that is deliberately disguising something an action that can cause harm.
Was there anything in, because I don't know how advanced some of the your discovery went, but is there any correlation between those that might have suicide ideology and those who are significantly gambling, particularly when they're taking losses that may be detrimental to their own economic standing?
So we didn't ask that in this survey, but this was more just about attitudes, but we do have a lot of data across the state about suicidality and gambling disorder. And I think it's something like 1 in 5 people who have gambling disorder have suicidal ideation, and I think 15% have attempted suicide.
I'm sorry, President Acharya.
Thank you, Chair. I have a quick question. So you sent out the survey to over 100,000 students, and roughly about 4,600 or so responded. So the data that you presented, the percentages of students who said they are involved in gambling from different institutions. So how representative of that, like 5,000 or so So can you scale that up to like 100,000? How do you do that? Like
So-
the point I'm trying to get to is there may be a lot of people who are gambling, but maybe they're not participating in the survey.
Yeah, that is a possibility, but because we had a wide sample and the sample demographics are pretty representative and across our institutions, we have a pretty good sense that that's representative. I haven't fully finished all that, and like we might have to wait some of it, but it's a pretty good representative sample, and the margin of error is small because the sample size is so big.
We're looking at like a 1.4% margin of error. Yeah.
Regent Fernandez.
Thank you so much. I'm just curious. One of my colleagues here brought up a question that I think could refer back to education, right? There are people who are gambling and all that. When it comes to the more nuanced trading and what we're seeing in those aspects, how does education make a difference into it, right? If somebody has no education on day trading, for example, yet they're gambling out there versus somebody who studies what trading is like, right? And the degree attainment or something along those lines, is that sort of viewed, and how does that impact within the context of gambling?
You mean someone who considers themselves like a skilled trader versus just someone trading?
Yeah, somebody who even gets a finance degree and really focuses on those things.
People who view their gambling as skill-based are much more likely to develop gambling disorder than people who are just gambling for luck or with luck, because they feel like they have control over what happens when they don't.
I mean, I can add another interesting tidbit if you want. Just one quick thing to add. Something else that we found that will be in the report that we share with you all is that we gave students gambling knowledge scores. And actually what we found was that the more knowledge that students had about gambling, the more likely they were to identify one of the areas select yes for one of the areas of the BBGS than those who had less gambling knowledge.
Regent Arascata.
Thank you, Chair Brooks. A couple questions, and I just jumped onto Google while you're doing this presentation, and it says that the highest, the state with the most gambling college students is Oklahoma at 6.5%. And then curious if this presentation or a presentation of this type has been conducted to any of the athletic departments. Once again, jumping over onto the Google where it just had the 6 players from 3 schools through games in NCAA Division I shared betting information. Have you proposed any of these presentations to the athletic departments of NSHE schools?
This is our first presentation. This is hot off the press. So I would love to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, the ramifications of a college athlete throwing a sport, missing a free throw, shanking the ball right when it's a field goal, or striking out, missing a volleyball hit. Yeah, that's something that the ramifications of that obviously is not just, bad. I'm looking at it right now. It's participating in gambling schemes that include a manipulation and sharing information and those to known bettors of NCAA found these allegations to be accurate back on November 7th of this year. So thank you very much. I think it'd be definitely worthy and let these athletes understand what could happen. Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Regent Downs.
Thank you, Chair Brooks. So a couple of things. I want to applaud you both for bringing this forward, and Vice Chair Goodman for being a part of this too. So the one thing about the sampling, though, as I was pointed about one of my math colleagues, is that it's technically a self-selection bias. Is there an opportunity or the option of doing an unbiased sampling?
Yes, But I mean, well, what do you mean? Like doing another study? With
Well, doing a
better-
study where it's not self-selection, where the participants choose to participate. Is there some other way of doing it with NSHE students? I don't know how we would do it, but
I mean,
have we
the
thought about
Board
that?
of Regents could institute a annual gambling survey as part of registration. I don't know.
No.
I mean, no study is perfect.
No.
Of course, this is our first one. We're really excited, and that's why I emphasize that it's just a baseline. So even though there are flaws, if we do it repeated over and over again, then we'll get better. Better information.
And do you find that I want to say the cause, but the general attitude towards gambling, though, is it all about the risk taking, or is it sometimes more about desperation? Oh, I need to make rent. I only have so much money, so let me see if I can double it, put it on black.
So we didn't get really into the weeds about that. We did ask, like, what is the primary reason why you gamble, and it was kind of split between socializing, just checking out. So people have different reasons for gambling, and we're not specifically trying to say that all gambling is bad. It's really just about people understanding the risks and being aware that, like, as students, they are more vulnerable, and these are things that put them at risk. So, some people said to socialize with friends. Some people said to be alone and away from everybody. Some people said, what else did people? I forget what the other options are. But we didn't present that information because it was sort of scattered across the different. There wasn't anything that really stood out there.
I would just like to add, if we did make all students take the survey, we would run into a data quality problem, because the second you tell someone that they have to do something, they'd be more inclined to just what we call straight lining, of just selecting the same answer all the way down. So just something for you all to think about.
It would just be interesting to see if we could develop some type of a survey that might remove that bias down the line.
Free tuition.
What's that?
No chances to win. That's gambling.
Might be something to work with the math department on, but thank you.
Regent McGrath.
Thank you. I just wanted to actually focus on what we could do in light of the presentation. I know there's opportunities for support. Any opinions as to any other programs or other states, what they've done, what's the most effective way to reach students, or what you might suggest that we focus on in order to combat the problem?
Well, I think that one thing that just strikes me as something very easy and very good is just a routine screening. So you go to the Student Health Center, you should be routinely screened for gambling the same way you are for alcohol, suicide risk. Every single time you go in there, you have to answer all those questions. Some of those questions should be about gambling. And the people who are on the front lines dealing with students when they are in crisis should have specific training on recognizing gambling harm or asking the questions. So a lot of times and they might see something that is wrong, but because they don't know what they would do if someone says, I have a gambling problem, they're not gonna ask about it. So, I mean, it's really like awareness is the first step. And then there are also, other more detailed things that we could be doing, but.
Thank you for that.
Thank you very much for all the information you provided with us. It was great that you provided information that got us as a board engaged in what you've got going on and the information that you're obtaining from students specific to gambling. With that, we'll move on to, what we'll do is, and again, thank you very much for the presentation. Thank you. We've got one more agenda item, but we have snacks. And so what we'll do is take a 10-minute administrative break, grab some snacks, use the restroom if you have to, and then we'll move on to the last agenda item before public comment. Thank you. Well, it's about 4 o'clock. We've got one more agenda item to cover, and then we'll go into public comment. I hope everyone enjoyed the short break and the snacks that UNLV is kind enough to provide for us. This is agenda item number 13. And I'd like to call on President Heavey to introduce this item.
Thank you, Chair Brooks, Vice Chair Goodman, members of the board and system staff. We're delighted to present to you today as an information item, an exciting new collaboration with Clark County. We have an expansive vision of how we want to serve our community, and this collaboration represents an important new aspect of the service that we envision of bringing UNLV out into the community in a more robust way. We're excited that Clark County has offered us the opportunity to be in their new micro-business park and to tell you about the specifics of this exciting new collaboration, which we will bring back to the board. We anticipate in June for formal approval in terms of the interlocal agreement and in the other required agreements. Our Zach Miles, our Interim Vice President for Economic Development, and Shawnee Coleman, the Clark County Executive Director for Economic Development. Thank you very much.
You said it all, President. Fantastic. Good afternoon, Regents. Zach Miles, Interim Vice President for Economic Development for the record. So adding a little bit to that before I turn it over to Shawnee. So as you're aware, obviously economic development is very important for the university. It really affects a lot of the activities that we try to perform as an institution in providing applied education, in spinning out technologies, and attracting collaborations with industry. So this represents a really cool, fantastic, wonderful opportunity to collaborate, and for UNLV, through the Office of Economic Development, to provide some free counseling with some professionals that we have to individuals setting up micro businesses or other businesses within the historic West Side, be able to provide educational opportunities, and at the end of the day, really economic mobility for individuals that are seeking that. And so I'll let Shawnee talk about the building itself, but we're working very closely on what does this look like? What are we putting into this facility? What's the makerspace? What are the different studios that we can have that will provide the assets for the individuals within that community and attract those outside of the community to support it, that will really make an impact, not only for those individuals, but our students. What a really cool opportunity for them to apply their skills, or an opportunity to attract others to the university to partake of the education and facilities that we have. So it'll be an entry point into the broader ecosystem that we're trying to create. As President Heavey mentioned, we're working on and moving forward with an interlocal agreement that we'll bring. And then one of our principal responsibilities is working with Clark County, as mentioned before, on kind of tenant improvements and facilities, furniture, and equipment. And so we're going to bring our assets and resources to the table, along with Clark County, to really change the lives of Nevadans and be able to make their lives better. So I'll turn it over to my colleague and friend, Shawnee Coleman, who is the Executive Director for our Community and Economic Development at Clark County.
Thank you so much, Zach. Good afternoon. For the record, I am Shawnee Coleman. I am the Director of Community and Economic Development for Clark County. I appreciate you having me here today to talk about this wonderful project. We refer to it as our micro business park. We have not given it an official name yet, but we're very excited to be partnering with UNLV on this project. First, the micro business park, it's a mixed use project. So it has some workforce housing in there, and there is a 20,000 square foot facility that it will be focused on entrepreneurship and small businesses. It's located on Lake Mead and Inglestead, so right in the heart of historic West Las Vegas. It is functionally in the city of North Las Vegas, just across the street. City of Las Vegas is on the south side of the street, City of North Las Vegas on the north side of the street. As you can see, we have 76 units of what we call workforce housing that will be between 50% and 80% AMI. And then there is a 2-story, 25,000 square foot commercial building for which we will have a small business incubator and other services for entrepreneurship. This is the area for which we are partnering with UNLV. This is just a little layout. You can see the housing or the residential component of this project. What you see in gray, that is where the commercial building will stand. It will sit directly on Lake Mead. This is just a rendering. This is what we're hoping it looks like. It's under construction right now, so we're excited. If you drive by there, you'll see a couple of things coming out of the ground. We just went vertical a couple of weeks ago. So the vision for the micro business park or the commercial park is to be a leading force in revitalization for the historic West Side, creating an environment where entrepreneurship and local businesses can thrive. Our mission is to deliver high quality office space, retail space, supportive services that empower local entrepreneurs and our business owners. We have decided to, I'll let you read that. We have decided to work with UNLV because you guys already offer a number of services regarding small business supports, SBDC. You have Blackfire, which we think serves as a great model for what we're trying to do in this particular facility. We also have other partnerships with entities like Nevada Partners, Startup NV, which is an entity that focuses on entrepreneurs in the venture capital space, obviously the Governor's Office of Economic Development, and a plethora of other partners in the community that we think bring additional value, but UNLV being our primary partner. This lays out the first floor of the commercial space, and you'll see we have about 3 spaces that are dedicated to retail tenants, and so they're about 1,300 square feet apiece. We also have a commercial kitchen there that can provide training for up-and-coming restaurants. And then we have small office space that can be used as actual incubators that we can rent out on a monthly basis. Oops, there we go. There's the office space. And then on our second floor, this is where we believe the value of the partnership with UNLV comes in. Again, we have in pink there, you will see we have offices that can be used as incubators. So as businesses work with small business development counselors, they will have the opportunity to take space to grow their business. The green area, what you see is what we consider co-working space. So if you've had an opportunity to go to Blackfire, that co-working, that collaboration where people can ask questions, they can sit around, they can work together. In this particular, we have AV. So we have a podcast studio. We will have a recording studio. We will have a video studio. So this area in purple is dedicated to AV, and it can be used in 2 ways. It can be used for entrepreneurs who have a business that is related to AV or entertainment, but it can also be used by other businesses who need to do services or create podcasts, create commercials or other things of that nature. And of course, we have what we call, or what I call, community spaces. We have maker spaces, and if you're familiar with Blackfire, this is a space where we'll have different types of equipment and things where if someone is creating a physical product, they'll have the ability to utilize these spaces. Of course, we will have computer labs. And then finally, in yellow, we'll have conference and classroom space. So this is a place where the community can use, or even if it's a business, to host a meeting, host different classes. We've talked about the opportunity to provide UNLV with different classes and teaching opportunities there as well. And so the way that we're looking to set this up is that hopefully this will be fully self-contained. We're looking at a membership model in which individuals who choose to participate would pay a monthly fee, and they would have access based on that fee. And so someone who's just looking to do co-working could pay as little as $25 a month, depending on the size of their business. We do have opportunities for people to participate at no cost if they're just starting out. But additionally, the meeting room space, the conference space, we have chargers for that. And like I said, the goal is for this project to be completely self-contained, where all of the revenue that comes in goes back into servicing the facility. From a staffing perspective, Clark County will have an executive director who will actually oversee the facility. We will have a director of programs that will facilitate programming for the facility, that's scheduling different classes or scheduling different events, a director of operations that will make sure the logistics of the facility are run. We will have coordinators, and we will also provide janitorial services. UNLV has discussed having the business development manager and a business development associate. And so this is really where they come in with some of the SBDC staff, and they provide that mentorship and some of those skills that small businesses and entrepreneurs need to excel. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you very much for that presentation. Are there any immediate questions or comments from Regents? We'll go with Regent Breger and then Regent Boylan.
Thank you. A great presentation and a good concept. My question is, you have only X amount of workspaces. So is it a revolving situation? Someone excels, gets to that point, and then they go out and to the world and do that same job so that more people can experience this? How are you doing that?
Through you, Chair Brooks, through Regent Breger, that is the plan, is that they're incubator spaces, and so they would utilize the space until they reach a certain point or a threshold. And then that is why we also have the offices on the first floor. So we think everybody starts on the second floor, or they start on the second floor. The office space on the first floor is a little bit larger and a little bit more expensive. So the goal is to provide them with opportunities to continue to grow. So working in co-working space, and then as office spaces become available, move into an office. And if they need to, they can step down into the office spaces on the first floor, or the goal is that they have grown so much that they need much bigger space and they go out into the community.
Okay, and then just to follow up on that, you'll be, someone there, the executive person, would be deciding what businesses or what people would be allowed to do within that system?
So the idea with the membership model, because this is in the community, we want to make sure that as many people in the community have access to it. But yes, we would develop a application process for those who are interested in renting the office spaces.
So I guess in that revolving type situation, you'd make sure they were moving forward and not stagnant, or someone would help them get to that next step?
Well, yes, we want it to be an incubator, and what the idea is that as they grow, they move out so others can step in.
Great, thank you so much.
You're
That's
welcome,
great.
thank you.
Chair, thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Great stuff. I love seeing things built, etc. Now, I may have missed this, but how much is this going to cost NSHE, and how does it help NSHE? That's what my basic thing.
Well, I will let President Hebe jump in.
There you go. All right, President.
Thank you, Regent Boylan, for the question.
Yes, sir.
We have committed 2 staff members to this as part of our community engagement work to provide services. As Director Coleman said, we also potentially anticipate offering some lifelong learning classes in the classroom space there if we identify community needs that community members have an interest in participating in, some high-value potential, micro-credentials and things of that nature. So we will spend university resources from the point of view of supporting this community and considering it part of our mission broadly conceived of education and community engagement. Initially, we anticipate 2 staff positions, as was listed on that sheet, and we've identified the funding for those positions already. And we're thinking roughly $500,000 to maybe $750,000 for furniture, fixtures, and equipment to staff the space, and we've identified that funding as well.
And Regent.
Quick question. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yep. Regent Boylan, Zach Miles, Interim Vice President of Economic Development at UNLV for the record.
Awesome.
And looking at various ways of bringing in resources, so philanthropic, in-kind, grants, and a lot of that ends up being maybe from industry partners that are coming in, that although we love the money and we love the in-kind, we really want them to be collaborators to support the small businesses that we're looking to have in that space. And to the previous question, really utilizing like the tech park and some of the resources there that we can exchange services. So if someone's moving out, it may make sense for them to be over the tech park or vice versa.
Thank you. I get that, President TV. So basically, we'll be spending about $1 million with the salaries and with all the furniture and other things to just start it up, right?
We anticipate maybe $1 million in the first year and then dropping down substantially in terms of ongoing costs after that.
And we have the funding for all of this, like the young man said out there, from people donating it or something like that. It's not coming out of student fees or anything like that, right? Operating costs from UNLV.
Well, we've identified the funding that we have available right now to cover this, but we also will look for opportunities to partner and bring in philanthropy that would support this.
Outstanding. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Chair.
Regent Brown.
Thank you, Regent Brown, for the record. I know that Bo, when he was at Blackfire, he talked a lot about the West Side project of Blackfire. Is this an extension of that? And just like a house for it?
Yes.
Awesome. I'm just asking because I saw Nevada Partners was on the list, and I know that's where that was being housed, but this gives it a home. And, we've seen in other ecosystem, and I know you're looking at other ecosystem opportunities around the country and how they've actually scale and grow within their four walls. And I think this is I'm hoping that Blackfire continues to scale and grow, and that third floor really becomes an active, incubator. I know Zero Labs is a really good partner in that. And so I'm hoping that this will also be kind of like the 2.0. I have a question from UNLV's perspective. Do you still have infrastructure at the Howard Hughes building over here?
So good question. Thank you, Regent Brown. We do, but that lease will be over in December.
It's
So
sunsetting,
we'll be moving out of there. And Regent Boylan, thanks for calling me a young man. I really appreciate that. So yes, and the continuation, especially the EDA grant that we had to set up some of the initial activities that were going on there, part of that resulted in data as to what's needed that will transition into this building so that we're not providing resources or services that are not matched with the need. So yes.
Okay, that's great obviously I knew there was some movement happening over at so it's being Sunset, but you're taking the lessons learned there, building upon that on Blackfire, and then we'll just call it Blackfire 2.0 until you have a proper name. Where would I know UNLV, I don't know if employees is the right word, but the entrepreneur and residents, where will they be headquartered?
Yeah, so that's currently, that's in the Office of Economic Development. So that'll continue to be with us. We've got some other funding coming in to support that, so they will definitely be engaged with this particular activity.
Okay, and then the two staffers that will be dedicated to 2.0, that'll be very different than what already exists at Blackfire, just be adding on to that?
Yeah, so we have infrastructure, small business development center, as well as what you mentioned before, entrepreneurs and residents, industry engagement, tech commercialization. So they'll be part of the team that extends the SBDC functions, but they'll provide the suite of services that the Office of Economic Development, Blackfire, and Reaching into Campus provides.
And then when we want to know an update, we would be coming to you at the economic development area, not the Troge Center, not the rest of, because I know entrepreneurship lives in a couple places here on campus, but this is purely the economic development vertical that you guys are trying to build out.
Correct, and we try where we can, so like Leith with Troche and others, we package those or try to package those together to have a single front. So thank you for the question, Regent Brown.
Yeah, and the last thing I'll say is I've really appreciated the investment in entrepreneurship from this campus. I know we've done the President's Innovation Challenge for a few years. I know funding was different this year, and but I'm hopeful that if it gets brought back, then the winners can actually head back into, and then they have a next phase for them to go to, whether it's Blackfire 2.0, whatever that is, and then we're actually growing it, and that's just another example of how we're using these buildings that we're making investments in by helping our students who are building companies. That's where I'm hoping I see this head.
Yes, definitely. And I know you didn't ask the question in there, but we have a couple of examples that we can run through and have that conversation later. But the first student team that won actually is over in the co-working space. We're working with them on SBIR, SDTR proposals with the feds, and so it's functioning how we're anticipating it to work.
And I will share, I've met with those students and they're really wonderful and they've pivoted a few times and they've used that, but in a good way, right? They're doing exactly what the entrepreneurial journey is. And they're using that money to the best of their ability and they've pivoted with AI and they've gone into robotics. And it's really wonderful to see just their quick growth trajectory in 18 months. So it's awesome. Thank you.
Vice Chair Goodman.
Thank you. You know, there was a time I used to have to go to regular meetings at Blackfire. And what I would really love to see there, as well as at this, in this space, is I'd like it to see more students, you know, see more activity. So often, this was probably a year, 18 months ago, I'd go to Blackfire and it was, you know, kind of the empty building with the really nice toilets that are heated. And I just, I don't mean this in an egregious way. I really would like to encourage you to just have more activity there with this, you know, bring in those kinds of businesses that really are going to spur creativity and innovation and have people working together and you know, creating wonderful things, so.
Chair Goodman, thank you for the comment. One of the things, this is why we decided to go with a membership model, because we want people who want to be there. And we think that by a lot of people put value in things that they pay for. And so even though it's just a small amount, we think that having that membership model being exclusive, not everybody can just come in. We're hoping that encourages people to go. And then the other thing, one of the staff people that we talked about is a director of programs. The idea is that this person will be programming the space all the time to create activities. So people outside of being a member also have other reasons to come to the facility. So we want it to be energetic. We want to have that creativity and that activity. So those are some of the reasons behind some of those decisions.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Regent Goodman, for the question. So we've taken one step in that direction, which is fantastic. So we just launched our Catalyst Awards this fall. And so it's money we received from GoAd that matches with industry to bring in a project to campus at Blackfire that engages students in that applied learning. Obviously, part of your question was getting more student entrepreneurs out there as well. And so that'll help to catalyze that.
Thank you so much. That's great news. I'm very excited. I didn't mean to be flippant, but I'm very excited about this. Thank you.
Regent Del Carlo.
Thank you so much, Chair. I just want to know how it's going to be marketed. I think it's a great idea, especially in the historic West Side, and I know our former colleague on this board, Cedric Creer, would be so happy to know. I'm sure he knows about this, but how are you going to market it?
Thank you for the question, Regent Del Carlo. So Clark County Economic Development, separate from General Clark County, has its own marketing and PR firm. And so as we bring this online, we will develop a full marketing strategy to make sure that those in the community and those all around Southern Nevada know about the project and have access to it.
Thank you. And one other question, is this close to the CSN's new Skill Center?
Are we talking about the training center at historic West Side School?
Mm-hmm.
It's not far, yes.
Okay.
It's probably a couple of blocks. This particular facility is on D Street, and I think the historic West Side School Training Center is on
Washington?
Is on B.
B. Okay, that's close.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah, they're
happy for the
relatively
residents.
close to each other.
Great. Awesome. Thank you.
Regent Carvalho.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I appreciate President Heavey letting us know about the the staff members and the FF&E that will be there. But this may be early in the process. But will UNLV be? I see that there's an interlocal agreement, but will UNLV be paying like lease terms or anything like that for the space that you're occupying?
Thank you for the question, Regent Carvalho. We haven't nailed down the interlocal agreement, but just at a high level, what we've discussed is that in lieu of rent payment, we value UNLV's participation, and so there would not be a actual lease payment. It would just be an agreement between the two. We're building the space, and so we're covering the cost of that. We're covering janitorial, but we see value in UNLV providing some of that small business and entrepreneur service, and having that having UNLV in the historic West Side. And so even though we haven't nailed out all the details at a high level, that's some of what we've talked about.
Thank you. And one other question is, and maybe this is just early, or maybe you don't have the answers to this, but I'm curious if there will be any UNLV branding on the building or within.
We did talk about it. Yes, great question. We did talk about this. So the building will likely be branded with Clark County and UNLV. That was something that was important to Commissioner McCurdy. This is a project in his district and something that he thought made sense. He wants the community and everybody, when they drive by the freeway, because I-15 is not far from there, to be able to see Clark County and UNLV working in partnership.
I love that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the presentation. I think this is a great example of the importance of our institutions and collaboration with groups inside our community, so that we recognize that our institutions are a lot more than just a learning center. You know, they have a positive and significant impact in our community, and this is a great example of doing things in a manner that lots of folks are going to benefit from. So thank you very much for the presentation.
Thank you, Chair Brooks and the board, for allowing me to speak.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And with that, we will move on to agenda item number 17, which is public comment. Is there any public comment at GBC?
No public comment from GBC at this time.
Thank you. Is there any public comment at the system office in Reno?
None in Reno.
Thank you. I don't see any public comment here at UNLV, but I just want to make sure in case someone is a little shy to get up front. There's no public comment here at UNLV. SES, is there any public comment on the phone?
There are no callers at this time.
Thank you very much. So we'll recess this meeting until 9 a.m. Tomorrow. Thank you.